Hello, love wrestling. It's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. And you know what that means. It's another new episode of Between Two Beards.
Can we start off with the biggest news of the week? The Rats lost! If you've got the budget, I've got the time.
There he is.
Hey, boss!
There's the boss.
Hey!
The man with the finest beard on this screen.
Canadian boys, shut the hell up. Let me talk.
You see, the Rads are resourceful. When I got beef with somebody, I can find a way to talk to them.
Hello, love wrestling. Man, you know, that is just, I'm going to ruin the intro this week because that is just, every time I hear it, there's no better theme song.
Yeah.
No better theme song.
Yeah,
in the
we do.
biz.
I think
Incredible stuff. Every time.
I think we have that on lock as I
I was grooving back there. Back there during that one. I usually do every week, but I was getting down. But yes, it is 8 p.m. It is Thursday night. And you know what that means.
No, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean? Tell them what it means.
It's another new episode of Between Two Beards, man.
It's like episode 176, I think.
Something like that. Something up there.
We're creeping ever closer to 200. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. We got a big one tonight. We got a couple great guests joining us as we're going to talk some PWI.
A debuting guest.
That is true. A returning.
We did it.
With the debuting guest that we've made it happen. We're very excited.
And we might have to bring the one guest who we discussed just 30 seconds ago is an absolute Hall of Famer on to introduce the next guest because I think that it's just crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
How about them Yankees?
Done.
Okay.
Done. You knew. Listen.
I know.
Okay. Listen. I came out here tonight and I was like, I'm in a good mood. Let's go chill. Me and PLUGGO were talking before. We're kind of jiving. And we're talking about baseball. And I go, oh, Yankees and Guardians are playing right now. And PLUGGO goes, yeah, I think the Yankees are winning. And I'm like, oh, damn it. So I put it on the computer. And when I put it on, the Guardians are up 3-1 in the top of the 8th with 2 outs. And the second I put it on, Aaron Judge hit a 2-run homer off the best closer in baseball to tie the game. And then 3 pitches later, Giancarlo Stanton hit a home run to give the Yankees the lead. And now I'm in a bad mood.
Well, let's rebound back to a good mood. Listen,
put me back in a good mood, but I'm in a bad.
They're waiting, but before we bring them on,
let's go.
If we get to 25 likes today on the stream, so tell your friends.
At 16. We are already at 16.
So all you gotta do is tell 9 people, or you, if you have 9 burner accounts, hit the like button. We will let you know the next match for LPW 31. It's a good one. I loaded it up earlier. It's a goodie, and I want to be able to present it to you, the fans here on Beards. So smash that like button, smash that subscribe. We also, at some point tonight, Zach will stop by. He's going to explain that crazy Quizplex for us for a couple of seconds and promote that. But without further ado, we want to get JPJ back into a good mood. So let's bring on our first guest. He's a legend, Hall of Famer, all-timer. He's been here probably more than we have.
I think more.
Mr. Warren Hayes.
Greetings.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Greetings.
Hi. Hello, fellas. How are you both tonight? I'm sorry about the Yankees, JPJ.
It's
sorry.
okay. It's all right. I just needed to let that out. Oddly enough, I didn't swear. I'm shocked. But I just needed to let that out. I feel better now.
How do you handle this stuff? Do you have like like essential oils or something to that effect?
Yeah. After this, I'm gonna take a hot shower. We'll be fine. I'll think about it for a little bit. You know, Arrested Development, Tobias.
Yeah,
I know that famous. That's
Okay.
me. That's me.
Oh,
When the Yankees or teams I hate win, that's me. I'm just like son of a bee. Son of a bee.
My heart is breaking.
Yeah. It's okay.
Don't bury the lead here. But we
No,
brought
PLUGGO,
you on first because we are having a debut. And we decided, I think this is the first time it's ever happened. We're going to bring on Kristen Ashley, but the way we're going to bring her on is you've got to sing her on. You do it when she's in the chat. Now you got to do it when she's here live.
So,
Are you pushing the button, JPJ?
Yep, I'm going to bring her on.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's Kristen Ashley, the first lady of the Mr. Warren Hayes show. Yeah. Boom.
That was awesome.
Welcome.
Beautiful.
We're very excited to have you.
Thank
We've been
you.
trying to get you on here for a little bit, so we're glad we made it happen. We're very excited to have both of you on.
And we also have a quick super chat here from
We do.
DGMC if you want to pop those.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, great.
Bring them all night, DGMC, with that attitude. Warren Hayes has sent me to make Mystico a draw. Wendy Richter has a sniffer lyric that's Dan Hansen. JPJ looks like a shady indie promoter. General manager and General Tessa Blanchard jokes. Hope he's embarrassed.
Wait a minute.
Why
am I catching straight?
I didn't see the bottom.
What the hell did I do?
Here's the good thing. He got all the jokes out of the way in one fell swoop. So
No,
now
you know,
have
you
a
know.
nice. No, probably
We
not.
appreciate the super chat, and I didn't realize I've been doing this show with JPJ for 3.5 years. I never made the connection that you're a shady.
No,
indie
is it the Boston accent? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Hey.
I don't know. Do I sound untrustworthy? I don't know.
Anyway.
Yes.
We're here.
Well, here we go. The boss is chiming in saying, look, there's only one shady indie promoter here. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Spencer. Yeah, Spencer is absolutely the most shady guy
So
I know.
shady.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We can tell you stories for hours. We're going to clip that and send it to all the indie talent.
So DGMC says that I look exactly like Charlie Gully from Heels. The TV show, which I am currently watching Heels.
Oh, I was going to say,
now
watching that show.
It's on Netflix. It just became available on Netflix, and it's a wrestling thing, so I'm watching it. It's actually pretty good. But Charlie Gully, played by the great Mike O'Malley. If you remember him from Guts fame.
Sure.
Guts.
I know who that is.
Yeah, he plays the main rival's promoter. And
DGMC's getting even better with it. He said shady deathmatch.
Yeah,
Florida
deathmatch.
Yeah,
they're called like the Wrestling Federation is it's called some Florida or dystopian wrestling. So they're like really out there. And that's his character. But anyway,
I like it. I like it.
Yes.
Anyway, first and foremost, it's PWI Women's 250 week. How's your sleep going, guys?
Well, now that it's dropped, I'm fine. I don't know. Kevin's really the editor. Kevin's really the only one I think loses sleep.
Yeah, he told us
all of it.
He told us when he was on for the 500 that he couldn't wait for it to drop so he could get some rest.
Yeah,
you just submit the list, huh, and just move on.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm not the boss, so.
He said that this was your baby, Kristen.
Oh please.
No. Listen, here's the story. Okay. No, I'm going to tell the story. Yeah. This is how it goes. Okay. Yeah. For the longest time, for the longest time, I don't know, since the late double O's, right? The 2000s. PWI had a women's list, but there were 50 women on it, and it was 50 women on it for a long time. Then Kristen starts working, freelancing and whatnot for PWI, and starts pushing internally to boost the list. Mm-hmm. And if the list is at 250 today, it is because Kristen has pushed for that. Yes, it is. She got it up to 100 that one year. Yep. She got it to 100 up that one year, up to 150. Yes. And then yes. All right.
It got to 100 the year I started. I didn't push it to 100. So wrong.
Okay. Well, she pushed it up to 150, right? And then was like, well, there's room for more women. And then she pushed, and we got it up to 250. So there you go.
No.
Well, okay. Well, this is your chance to rebut the story, rebuttal. Yes. I don't know the words.
Let's make it clear that I am not the boss. I get so many DMs about things. I am not the editor. I just act like the boss.
I didn't.
When I started, Kevin had just picked up the editor-in-chief role. He'd been working there for a long time, but he had just picked up the role. So he picks up the role, and then it moves to 100. And it's women's instead of females, which thank goodness. And then from there, I had nothing to do with it, mind you. He had asked, what do you think about 150? And I said, sure. And then he did it. Now, the 250, I'll give you this. I had done the bell-to-bells 500. And he said, how many women past 500 did you have? Like, how many women did you choose from? I said, it's like over 700. And he went, all right. Do you think 250 is doable? Let's do that. So I didn't make those decisions, mind you. Now I would say credit
that's the thing.
You're the spark that ignited it.
But you see, look, when did I say in anything I just said? When did I say Kristen decided to take it up to 250? When did I say that? No.
You said
what did I say?
Push.
Push. You pushed.
I didn't push at all.
No, you did.
How about this? When, if at all, are you going to push or not push for it to be a 500?
I always want it to be. Okay. I do. However, and I'll say this, it needs to be prestigious. That's sort of the reason why Kevin says we can't just automatically push it to 500, mainly because there's a lot of women who don't qualify because of the activity thing, because promoters suck, except for Spencer.
Well, I mean, he is one shady indie promoter here.
Yeah. He does not suck. He rules.
Yes.
But, there's just not a lot of women who make it activity-wise. There was a ton that didn't make it this year. So we want to keep it prestigious. And while the 500 is not a men's list, traditionally open weight and heavyweight titles are held by men, and there's just more men wrestling and more men's matches. So So while we would love to be 500, we got to go slow. We got to go a little bit slow, and we got to wait for the landscape to change too.
Yeah, a little bit. And then, I think that's something. It's not a question of if it will happen. It's a question of when,
Right.
Because there are obviously way more than 500 great women's wrestlers in the world. So this is released on Tuesday. Right? Yes, Tuesday. When do you guys kind of start bearing down? Like,
Monday. The Monday before.
the Monday, the last 24-hour cram.
Oh, man.
Last final there.
The week before.
The week before really is when you guys. No, I was gonna say when you guys go. Okay, we're in the home stretch right here.
You're like, oh shoot, we forgot something. Oh crap, the list.
Like, when does that?
No, because we got a print deadline too.
Yeah.
Sorry, my computer is just shaking. So I don't know, end of August, and I think even that was sort of end of August, early September, and that was kind of late. That was late. Try to get earlier than that because, and originally, little spoiler, little behind the scenes, we had originally had the criteria ending, the evaluation period ending September 15th. And then we were trying really, really hard to make it so Mercedes Moné can make the list. Now I might get in trouble for admitting that, but we were squeezing out. We were like, please. So we squeezed it to September 30th, and then that made the deadline super tight for all the actual writing part of it.
Because the reason, it wasn't a question of favoritism, right? It's not necessarily, it's just sometimes you just want to be able, if you have an opportunity to counteract bad reactions from people who don't understand how this stuff works, who won't read the criteria and who'll just be really mad. Because the reason why Mercedes didn't make it is because she didn't wrestle enough this year. It's just, or in the period. So we were just like, well, how far can we? Because she was one match away, right, Kristen? She was one match away.
Yeah,
right?
one match.
So we were like, let's just see, like, and we got, we'll just see. Oh, she's starting to wrestle more on Dynamites and stuff. Maybe let's just see how it goes. But no, it just didn't work out. So she ended up not being there.
Yeah. How dare you two?
I know.
I'm sure everyone is going to react
for both sides of it. How dare you try to squeeze her on the list, and then how dare you keep her off?
You can never.
I feel like Kevin. I hope Kevin never sees this, because I feel like Kevin will probably get mad at the fact that we said that. Yeah. But also, it just makes more sense evaluation period wise. Why would you stop it in the middle of the month?
Well, that, and I mean, even if like you think she's a big star, she's a big name, she's been doing good things in AEW. Why wouldn't you want to try to get her on the list if you could? But I mean, like we had in the men's list, Roman didn't make it because he didn't wrestle enough. But so it happens. It's cool. Kevin's probably asleep right now with his DM shut off.
I don't know about that. maybe.
And listen, hey, we got Chemical Julian saying, "What's Pluggo?" That's me. And then he says, "I mean, what's up, Pluggo? What's up, Roundtable? How's it going?"
Welcome in.
What is Pluggo?
How dare? So you said that you guys really started hammering this out as a collective a couple months back. How soon do you start a personal list and keeping like your own, so that when you come to that group, you have like, all right, I am ready. Here's my 200, 300 women that I'd love to see make this list? Or when do you get started, Chris? And I know, Warren, we've talked to you about it a couple of times over the years.
Yes.
Well, I don't come with I come maybe with my personal 20, and it never looks the same. Maybe the top 5, maybe, but this year it did not. And I mean, to come with 250 is crazy. But I will say, so typically we have like this sheet of women, and we kind of break it up by promotion or territory, and we put women who qualify based on the activity. And then I did this year, and then I would research all of them and sort of like loosely place them in what we would consider an order as far as like just stats. Like not, and it never goes that way. It's not just, let's just place them in from that, but stats wise. And I spent a good 12 hours on this year. But even then, like that's very loosely based, and it's really just like who qualifies and then down from there. So I guess I technically did come with 300 people, but it wasn't in order at all. That would be hard for somebody to do.
That sounds just too daunting already to me. I'm like, that would be, we do have a question in the chat from our pal Dustin. He says, are there any differences in requirements for the men's and the women's list, or are they pretty similar?
Yeah, to be on the women's list, you have to be a woman.
Well, yeah.
Hold on. Say that again.
No, don't record them.
To be on the list, you have to be a woman.
What? Shocking information, Warren.
I know.
We haven't done that in a while.
I know.
Don't watch this, Mrs. Pluggo.
No, but as far as the requirements of like number of matches and time wrestling in the year, are there differences between the men's and women's list, or do you go by the same criteria for? First
of all, it's not a men's list.
Sorry.
And it's not like, it's totally understandable why people think that, because historically it has been.
Yeah.
But the only difference is the titles. Like, so women's is women's.
Yeah.
That's the competition, women's titles, women's divisions. Whereas the 500, it's open weight and heavyweight. And so recently, I think China was on it once upon a time, but recently there's been more women who have competed for heavyweight. You think of Jessica Troy. Really, Australia a lot has women who compete for traditionally male titles, and so those women then make the list. Even a while back, Jordan Grace, TNA is really good about letting their women, hey, go fight for the main title or the heavyweight tag titles, that sort of thing. So as long as it's in that range, as far as title wise, they make the list. So traditionally, yes, and I think that's why people say, "Oh, men's list," and I get it, but then I'm like, no, no,
it's true. No, it's true.
But that's the only difference is the titles and the competition. Everything else is the same.
Right. And we got Spencer saying, "I know how much wrestling both of you watch, but how tough would it be to watch every wrestler on the 250 perform? How do you differentiate those you might not watch as often?"
I can feel that. It's one of the reasons why the committee sort of has expertises, which comes in really, really handy. For instance, we had Lyric on this year, who watches a ton of Japanese wrestling. So she was basically our, the person in confidence for Joshi. So that's basically how, like when it comes like to keeping us abreast with the Canadian scene, for instance, which I'm sure it's something Spencer has on his mind. Well, it's Pat LaPrade then who's on scene to make sure that that they get inserted in here. Like, there's a certain level of inevitability that goes within the composition of the top 25. I even say up to the top 50, where it's just like, okay, well, these are like the stars that shine the most, that have the most visibility, that work in the bigger promotions, that are the top tier stars, and then everything sort of falls into place. Well, then where do you put her and her and her and her in relations to, well, this is our, like the top 25, top 50 is kind of the barometer in which everything else sort of falls in and around of, if that makes sense.
Is there submissions like the top 500 list? Are you able to submit your resume?
Yeah, this year I don't think we made a form, just because we did it so late that it got really close. He was very, very focused on the 500 this year. So yeah, we did, but normally, like last year we did. And some of the women who did submit got on. And I think a lot of it is we just want to be able to put like accurate information into their bios, because there have been times in the past, not by me, where things have been false in their bio, and they're usually not upset about it, but we don't want that. I mean, that goes out into, not everybody's on Twitter, people they buy it in print, and we don't want them to think the same, the bad stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now here's a good one. Let's get down to it.
Okay, all right, let's go.
There's only 2 women in the WWE in the top 10. For all them WWE tribalists that said, "What the hell? Explain yourselves." I'm just kidding. This is the first, because a couple years back we had the top 5 was all WWE.
Here's the thing, like for the longest time, this list, the most top 5s for the longest time were all WWE people.
Yeah, this is like the least amount of and I'm excluding Stephanie Vacure in that, because I think most of her work was done outside of the WWE at the time of this. But that's got to be a great sign, not only for women's wrestling, but it kind of probably makes it a little harder on you guys as a committee going, "Oh, we're going to hear about this one."
Well, I think the top 10, well, okay, Roxanne proved to be a problem, but Willow over necessarily Athena seemed to be an issue. But like, the second we got the top 5 cemented, I was so happy, because you have AW, you have TNA, you have WWE, you have Stardom, and you have CMLL, because that's where her, like you said, that's where her stuff was that we looked at. And I'm like, what a better thermometer, what a better way to gauge how well women's wrestling is doing right now. And you look at the rest of the top 20 and you're like, wow, this is from everywhere. And it's not to say, here's the thing too, it's not to say that WWE doesn't have the women. You also have to think of the fact that this, unfortunately, right, is a kayfabe list. Now, it's a kayfabe list. WWE had a really hard time focusing on top women this year. Rhea, wasn't there on the top all the time. Bailey wasn't either. Io, oh my gosh, Io lost so much for being a title holder. So they had a hard time. Liv Morgan did until recently had a really good run. Whereas Tony, the whole year almost was the woman. So, and Jordan, same thing. She was everywhere, Jordan Grace. So it's not that they had necessarily a worse year. It's just that they did not get booked as much because WWE had a hard time focusing on one or two women, and they sort of spread the love around, which isn't a bad thing, but it doesn't make you number one then. It's a hard number one. Yeah.
And that's fair. And I think, the list comes out, you see that Toni Storm is number one. And I don't think anybody anywhere would debate that she was not the number one wrestler, number one women's wrestler, if not the number one wrestler, period. For the last year, she probably was bell to bell, no pun intended, the number one women's wrestler last year. Just exquisite work all the way around from her. Like, no doubt. Right? I mean, that had to be one of the easier number one choices amongst the committee and in maybe the history of the list.
There's a bunch of debaters on. There's a lot of people who like to argue on that committee. I'm just saying. No,
I don't know where he is over here.
This one, that one. You got it. You got it. There were no arguments when it came to Tony. Everyone's, we opened up the proceedings. So who do we see with number one? Tony.
Proceedings. The proceedings.
Because I am a professional, journalistic, integralistic human being, Warren.
Wow.
Who did you argue for, Mr. Argumentative? Who was the one that you were like, if I don't get this person in this slot, I'm walking out?
I pushed for Willow. I think that wouldn't you say, Kristen? I pushed for Willow. Maybe not as bad as last year. Last year, okay. Well, let's get this year out of the way because that's what we're talking about. But I thought Willow had an extraordinary year. I think she's one of the most accomplished, well-rounded wrestlers. It's her 2020. Well, the period. I was going to say 2024, but it's the period. Was remarkable for her. She's someone that that AEW depends on. She is the in case of emergency break glass woman, and even extends to their partnerships where Stephanie Vaquer packs her bags, hits the bricks. Who do they put the title on? Well, they put the title on Willow, who doesn't even go in CMLL. But the partnership was so strong that they were like, well, do you trust her? Yeah, of course we trust Willow. She's great. And she'll do the job when she needs to do it. Like, no questions asked. Like, she's great. Fine. Here. Okay. Like there's, I find, and this is weird to say, I think I don't even think she's used to her full potential. I don't think she's pushed as the commodity that she truly is. Everyone loves Willow. Mm-hmm. No one wrestles like her in AEW's women's division. She's got a crowd connection that most wrestlers would beg to have, there were some switcheroos, some ups and downs, but I pushed hard for her. I don't have a problem with her being over Mariah May. I don't have a problem with her being over Athena. It makes perfect sense to me. But last year I fought tooth and nail for Camille. Because of her, that last year was one that I came in and was like, I came in swinging and I was like, if she doesn't make it into top 10, I have done something wrong. I've done a disservice to her. Yeah. Because she was at the end of her legendary run as women's champion. She had been systematically the best matches on NWA pay-per-views. Like, and I'm laughing not because it's like, oh, because Camille stinks. No, it's just because like, she has been, because everything else was so terrible. But I mean, because she was good. She was very good. She was clearly the best, the best performer they had. She was nothing short than a top 10 for me last year.
Yeah.
How about you, Kristen? Who did you go to bat for, so to speak, and maybe not argue much as like Warren, but who was the one that you dug your heels into the sand and said, hey, if I don't get this here, I gotta have it. We gotta have so-and-so here.
Stephanie Vaquer. And I remember me and Warren were together making our top 20, and I was, fielding things for him. And I said, I swear, if I don't get Stephanie Vaquer in that top 5, I am leaving. I am just ending the call and I'm out. Like, I was like, There's no way. No, same thing with Maka. You know, it's not that I didn't, you know, I fought for her too, but I'm like, Stephanie Vicaire, and she almost didn't. She almost didn't make the top 5, and I was upset. But
yes,
she got number 5, and that's, you know, there's, come on, how do you not? Stephanie Vicaire has taken that. She took the strong title everywhere. She made, I mean, the CMLL title she was the inaugural holder. She was the inaugural holder of the tag team title. And how do you not then? How do you not? And I'm like, I swear.
And she,
yeah.
It was a breakout year for her as well. Like it was a breakout 100%. Year for her to just come out of Mexico and become a commodity that wrestling fans were like, hey, we want more of this chick. And she has the great match at Forbidden Door on top of that, which she loses, but it's a great match on top of that, which was essentially her tryout for WWE. Heyo.
Do you take that into account too, as well? Like, you know, for someone like me who doesn't watch a lot of outside North American wrestling, the first time I really saw a full match of hers was that match with Mercedes. And then within weeks, it's AEW's offering her a contract. Nope, WWE's scooping in and taking her, and she's going there. Like, I know that is a different side of professional wrestling, the business side of professional wrestling, but like it has to say something about the performer where the general public sees one match, the general pub, not, you know what I mean when I say that. And then other companies are like, gotta have her.
I don't know if it's, you know, I don't know if it's as much, you know, the fact that she's signing with a big company more than her stardom on an international level rose.
Yeah,
just they even knew, you know, even in Japan they knew who they were. She wrestled in the UK. Like that's more of the thing, more than like, well, she got scooped up by one of the big North American promotions. Not necessarily, but it's not as much that as she's become that big a star on an international level that now, you know, WWE fans know who she is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So you said her name, number 4, Maika. Is that how you pronounce it? Did I say it right today? Maika. I do not know much about her. So for me or anybody else who might not know much about her, can you talk about her for a little bit and tell me why obviously she ended up in the top 5 here? You said she was in Stardom, so
yeah, top champ in Stardom for quite a while. This isn't like a criteria necessarily, but she has a presence that carried Stardom for a while. Now she did come out a little bit and did ROH stuff during WrestleMania weekend. She did here and there, but she primarily was in Stardom. She didn't leave there a lot, but she was the face. And I remember at one point I was making a TikTok of women who have the highest win percentages, highest win records. And she had something like 85%. I mean, she was unstoppable. She was like a Shuri a couple years ago where her matches were the match. And she took over and she didn't have it all year. She really didn't. I mean, maybe, I don't even think it was half a year, but her presence, she was winning over everybody. She was a Shuri without the Shuri. And her style is, you would know better than I would, Warren. She's got a more traditional style. Didn't you say she's following somebody else?
Yeah, she's got more of a strong style as opposed to what you usually see in Joshi these days, which is a lot faster, high flying. She's a lot more grounded. I like her a lot because of that. But that's a question of personal preference. But you know, she's a big, strong lady. She beats people down. She for anyone who can get the reference, she reminds me a lot of Hiroki Goto in New Japan.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for.
Fair enough. We have another question from Dustin in the chat. He says, does the PWI weekly ratings throughout the year play a big factor for the 250 list?
Yeah, I mean, we don't sit there and count them. I do a lot of the women's. I'm not the only one that does the women's, but I do a huge chunk of the women's. And yes, but we don't sit there and go, okay, well, Willow had number 1 for this many weeks. But it's a good jumping off point.
Yeah.
Toni Storm was on it a lot. Mariah May was on it a lot, even before she had a title. Micah, Rhea, you go through and you go, okay, well, this makes sense. If you had somebody like, Bailey or Liv, who has been on it for weeks and they're down like in the 40s, well, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense. So it's a jumping off point. I mean, you don't sit there and count it, but it's the weekly as well as the monthly print. So it's the same process. The monthly, I tend to go a little more like that. We're like, okay, how many weeks was Willow number 1? But you don't have to do that. You really can go by who is the most impressive that month. But it is good question. It is a jumping off point as far as that goes. Yeah.
So I got a quick one here. And I don't know what to call them. We'll call them the Perez heads, the Roxanne Perez fans. Was this more of something she could have done to make the top 10, or just an indictment of the fact that, the women's landscape is so deep, guys, that 11's pretty
11's not bad. 11's not bad.
Isn't bad. Now look at the top 10. Look at the top 10. Those are all world titles. And PWI recognizes certain women's title as world titles. The top 10 all held either world titles or main promotion titles, okay? Not, Stardom's main title, WWE's, TNA, Knockouts title. Those are main titles. Unfortunately, Roxanne is holding what WWE considers a secondary title. So then we also, it sucks, but it's a developmental title, right? They consider it that. So they don't call it NXT World Women's title. They call it NXT Women's title. Roxanne, I had her in my top 10.
See, there you go, Roxanne Perez fans. It wasn't anything she did wrong.
But Mariah didn't hold the title, I don't think, for any of this, or maybe the very tail end. But she had other reasons for going in. And it's not that Roxanne's bad. Roxanne to me is the face of NXT. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But it was very the top 10 is the top 10 because of, who they are, their name recognition, and the titles that they hold. And it's not the only thing, but like Sari, she was an inaugural title holder. She's got her own promotion. She's just everywhere for, and so Roxanne, it's not any hate, but we got some crap for Ariana Grace. Oh my gosh.
Listen, we're here we're trying to bridge that gap between the IWC and the PWI. We're here to
what happened with Ariana Grace?
Oh my gosh. So the NXT fans came out in waves. I made the mistake of tweeting out. I wasn't very clear, and I said, if you want to chat about, placings, and I meant shows. But I said, you want to chat about placements, and so, oh my God, it came out in waves about Ariana Grace, and it was like people were worried about Ariana Grace versus Lash and Ariana Grace versus Lola, and it's like, Lola and her were what, like 15, 20 places apart, but the Ariana, she's a jobber. Well, she had wins over Roxanne, which was the title holder. That's a huge deal. She was showing up on TNA. She was sort of the go-between for a while. And it's not that Lola's bad. It's not. It's just that Lola didn't have those wins and she didn't have that outside influence. And that's a big deal when you go to different promotions. It means that you are viable in other promotions and other people are seeing you, and that's a huge deal. And I always say I'm really happy that there are passionate fans.
Oh yeah,
because there would be no wrestling without it. But man, some of them were not nice.
Yeah,
some of them were not nice.
There's a difference between being a fan and being a psychopath. That's.
I always tell those people, make your own list. Then, like, you're more than welcome to publish your own 250. You touched on it. You probably kind of already answered it, but did that TNA WWE NXT partnership really help some of these women out a little bit more? Did maybe that give Jordan Grace, for instance, a little bit of a nod to go to, because she beat Roxanne, or not beat Roxanne?
I would say she appeared in the Women's Royal Rumble as well as the Knockout champ, had that run, beat Roxanne. I would think that helped her get to that number. She's top 10, top 5, no matter what, probably. But to be number 2, I would think that was a huge factor.
I thought she
in those spots. You know?
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, what was it? Mickey James, I think, was really the first bridge, but then Jordan was the bridge before they started putting, Fallon and all these other individuals between promotions. She was the bridge. And I'm sorry, if you're showing up as somebody who's not with WWE and you show up at the Royal Rumble, of course that's a huge deal. That is a big 4 pay-per-view. That is a big, I think, right? That is a big deal. That obviously, again, we talked about it, that bridging between different places, that's a huge deal. It played a part in EO, right? She shows up at Marigold. It's a huge part. Absolutely. And it, again, just be nice. It's all right. Just you don't have to be nice. Just be respectful. Yeah.
You don't. Trust me. We deal with that on a daily basis. With some of the comments, and you're just like, come on.
Yeah.
You could have you could be passionate, but you cross that line. For sure. That's why Warren left X, guys. That's why it's hard to get a hold of that guy.
It's not the word of God. There's a comedian who always said, make a list and people will think that they'll treat you like God, and it's true. Yeah. And he was talking about a sandwich list. How dare you put ham and cheese at number 1? But it's true. It's
wait, you guys aren't gods?
No.
Well, there goes this. I thought we have the PWI. I thought the PWI gods were here.
Click. You just click
the end all be all of women's wrestling.
No. Oh, absolutely.
How do you guys? Oh, go ahead, Jason.
No, you go.
I was just going to keep going down that rabbit hole because I always find that fascinating with other creators of content. How do you manage that negative side? I'm putting this list out and it's going to be, just bonkers, and I'm going to get. Hey, do you just block them immediately? Do you give them?
No, I mean I've curated my timeline pretty well. I think I have that filter where unless you follow me, I don't see it, or unless I reply to you, I don't see it. This is a situation where the women's list is pretty okay. This year was very surprising because I did not expect the NXT girlies to get so much fan base coming out. They don't usually come out that hard. The women's list is typically okay. The men, the 500 is something else. That is something I just stay off of Twitter for. But yeah, filters, and I don't make my stuff private. I don't block. There was one person I blocked because he was spamming my comments, and I don't think he had any touch of reality. I think he might have been,
Yeah,
I don't know. Yes, I don't want to say special. And I was just kind of tired of, called him Livy Liv, and I was just sort of tired of hearing it. So I blocked him. But I mean, I'm pretty lucky that I don't get a ton of hate, and I will typically make graphics, drop it, and run. But this year I did a little bit more, and just filtering.
Yeah. my strategy is to uninstall the app.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to go.
Looking like a better decision day by day, Warren. Looking like a better decision day by day.
Trust me, it's such a time sink, and it's. Do we have time to go on the Twitter rant or?
We have all the time. This is all the time in the world.
But you said at the start, don't you guys have Quizplex or?
No. Zach might.
Let me take off my shoes then.
Zach might pop in and say hi and
sure. Okay.
Promote something, but no,
promote something. You guys are the focal point. You're the stars of the show. We're just here. Actually, this is your show. We're just there hanging out.
Between two beards, me and him, right?
Yeah. Hey, exactly. We're gonna kick our shoes back now. Go.
No, but that I sincerely, as far as I can't talk for all of the spheres of fandom and discussion happening on Twitter, but when it comes to pro wrestling, I've said this for a while now.
He's literally taking his shoes off.
I took my shoes off. I literally took my shoes off.
I thought he was.
Come on, Tom.
Free content. Yes, let's go.
You're gonna make sure people pay for that, Warren. You gotta
don't put that out for free. Don't put that out for free.
Put that out there for
Send your super chats now. Warren will show some more feet.
You're costing us money, Warren. You're costing us money.
I'm sorry. See, this is why I'm broke, right?
You can see Juno's feet back there.
Juno's feet. My dog is right there. That's her feet. That's it.
All right.
We don't see her very well because she's black, but you see the feet.
There you go.
Feet right there. No, but basically, like, to sum it up, I feel like I feel like Twitter's not a place for discussion. It's a place for reactions. It's a place for people to get angry. People running after, especially now that you make money off of your engagements. Essentially, when I say money, I mean pennies. You make pennies for your engagement. I saw the trend start, and it was really discouraging. The adults have all left the room when it comes to Twitter. If you want, I feel like if you want to sit down and just chat about pro wrestling, just and have like reasonable discussions with people, it's done on Twitter. It's toast. You end up into these battles. You end up into these battles where most of them are just with children, right? Who don't know any better and are just they're just doing what they see, and that's
why did you get him started?
I know.
Why? We'll be here in 10 minutes.
I implore everyone to uninstall.
This is why we bring him on.
He talks to me every time I bring up Twitter. He's like, "Did you ever think about just not doing it?"
Sure. Well, hey, I'll tell you one thing. The amount of time that has returned to me getting off Twitter is tremendous. Peace of mind. Do you guys remember Peace of Mind? That's really I highly recommend it.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I thought about taking a break. To be honest with you.
I get it. I get it on Facebook a lot now. It's not so much Twitter, but my Facebook.
Oh yeah, PLUGGO.
My Facebook comment section is just bonkers.
Yeah.
I deleted mine during COVID. I don't have Facebook anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. One thing. Yeah, I was gonna say one thing. A little side note. Whenever this list comes out, is it's fun to see the Love Pro Wrestling wrestlers on the list and people that have wrestled. Obviously, Willow made an appearance for us.
Why you laugh?
Yeah, we got a whole
because Spencer is always like,
Spencer's like,
Spencer's in our DMs. Spencer's in DMs like, hey,
he wasn't in the DMs. He's got JPJ has an earpiece inside,
like
inside here. So he's got Spencer going, talk about LPW. Talk about the LPW women. Come on, go.
Come on now. This is 40. I've been sitting here for 47 minutes.
47 minutes. You waited 47 minutes before you mentioned the LPW people.
This is what I pay you for. Let's go.
No, not true. I did this on my own volition. I promise. But look at Zoe Sager showing up at number 158. Our girl Taryn from accounting, the third beard, 169. Then obviously Chelsea Green has made some LPW appearances. Kylie Ray as well. It was good to see them in there. Allie Ketch showed up at number 82. Love Allie Ketch. Just turned on Effie that one. Wow.
I saw that.
Unbelievable.
That'll be a big match for the Hammerstein show.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Bully Ray was involved and all that stuff. Nicole Matthews. Canadian. I know.
He's always involved.
I know. Canadian wrestling legend Nicole Matthews at 172. Yes. Giselle Shaw 92. Jasmine Allure 228. It's good. It's good. There's even more too. There's even more, guys. But there, Shaza McKenzie wrestled for us this year. Vert Vixen wrestled for us this year. Jody Threat is a regular. Love wrestling. 76 for her. And obviously, we talked about Willow did make an appearance.
So, how much did Spencer pay you to have such a?
That's basically what I wanted to get to. Like, who did Spencer wire the money to, and how much was it?
It ain't me.
I'm kidding.
I can't disclose it.
I'm kidding. All those women are excellent. Zoe Sager has run LP. She's been a top champion at LPW the majority of the last year. It's like she's excellent. We love.
Yeah, last year she was like 68 last year too.
Yeah, she was. Taryn from accounting is one half of the longest reigning champions in LPW.
We need to know how much she paid.
So I at least wanted to give them the shout out because that's a lot of talent that's been in our ring that is on this list. So it's always wonderful to see. So.
Well, and the thing with Love Pro Wrestling is that they also fight a lot of intergender matches. So you see those women also on the 500, which is nice. But there's a lot of Canadian women on here, and I'll say I fought for Kristara to be up there.
Hell yeah,
because she was way too low. I don't know who ranked her to begin with. It ain't me, and she was so low, and I was like, excuse me. But Pat too is he knows these women way more than we would. But it was a good year for Canadian.
Big proponent for Zoe Sager is Pat.
Oh yeah, she's excellent. Zoe is tremendous. Tremendous. And like you said, she held the main title for a long time. She was getting in there with the dudes and beating the dudes, and LPW has always been very pro intergender stuff, which again, we have some of the best matches you'll see, I think, in that form.
And that's why they're not higher up on the women's list. It's because it's so mixed like that.
Yeah.
That's the not terrible, but that's the hard thing is when they're so great, but half their matches are an intergender or open weight. You can't put them as high as
if you guys listen closely, you can hear the sound of JPJ's Venmo going off.
Oh,
that's our wire.
If you hear that closely, no.
I'm a company guy.
Is that something like, because we do work for Love Pro Wrestling in a sense, and it's an independent promotion. Is there something indie promotions can do to help get more visibility on some of their, like you were saying, Chris Starr, for instance, she wrestles a lot, and she does a lot, but she started smaller per se, and she's grown out. Is it just the performer, or is there something that like Love Pro Wrestling could do, or IWS out in Montreal could do to help their stock?
God bless Spencer, because he really does. I think he DM'd. Correct me if I'm wrong, Spen, but I think he DM'd Kevin. It's not that he's like, if you put her on,
we'll buy this many copies.
Make sure you look at my people. Like, I got some good people up here.
Right. There's a couple individuals that do that, not just for Canadian women, but for other women too, that just DM you and go, hey, here's the accolades of this person. In fact, somebody had DM'd me about a super indie that I did not really know about. And I said, well, the list is already kind of in place. And he said, well, no, that's not what I meant, right? Wink, wink. But to keep your eye on her. And so that's actually really helpful, because there are a lot of super indies that we do not see. It's very hard for even me, who made a list of 500 women. It's very hard to sit there and think of every single woman on the indies. Like, dude, there's so many of them. So it's not so much like a promotion. It does. I will say, when I go through to make these lists, it is a lot easier to go through promotions I've heard of, or promotions that are a little bit larger. There is such a thing as larger indies. When you think of, GCW, you think of Rev Pro, you think of Progress, like they're larger indies. So those are easier. And I will say, I did think to look at Love Pro Wrestling. I'm looking at all the promotions, and I went, Love Pro Wrestling. But it's not like, they're at Love Pro Wrestling, they should be on the list. It's just easier to find those individuals.
Yeah. And that makes sense. That makes complete sense.
And it makes sense for promoters to promote their talent.
I would hope so.
And it's like Kristen said, there's a few who do it, and you would expect more people would do it, actually. They do it after.
They do it after. I see so many tweets of, so-and-so who fought with this person at our promotion made the list. So it's like, do it before. That would be great. Do it before. But they do it after. They get that. Yeah.
I have a very you want to go. I always I could do this all day. I have a very specific case question regarding this list into next year. Marina Shafir at 81. Now, if she misses, she's very prominent in her role right now in the BCC, but she does not wrestle. Now, I'm assuming her indie stuff, if she continues to do that, will help her make the cut. But if she stays in such a prominent role in one of the top factions in one of the top companies, will you guys make amendments for something like that? Or is it because she didn't wrestle 10 matches, she's out?
I mean, it is thought of. Sorry, Warren, if you want to talk. It is considered.
Warren shoots her off. He's good.
My check off.
The check cleared. He's good.
You know, Paul Demar is always like, we should have a list for, you know, managers and stuff, but we don't. And so it's considered in that she is in a prominent place, but we can't consider that a part of any sort of activity or, you know, it would then rely on the matches that she does. But yeah, you can say, oh yeah, she's really great on the indies and she has a prominent place in the BCC or whatever they call themselves now. You know, they, you know, that has a prominent place, but that's not going to count towards like a match thing.
Even though she's murdered at least 3 people.
Poor Alex Reynolds.
Right?
What did Alex Reynolds ever do to anyone?
She straight murdered him yesterday.
Well, I was going to see,
like, oh, Alex.
Yeah, obviously we're talking about the list, but I was going to see if you guys wanted to chat some AEW as well tonight because I know they had a big week. AEW had a big week. I'd like to. So one thing that I like is obviously if you made this list of the top 250, in many eyes, mine included, you are one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. However, I like to pick your guys' brains about maybe someone that is lower on the list that you expect to make a giant leap by the time we're looking at this list next year. Like, kind of like a diamond in the rough. Like, ooh, this person, you know, it doesn't have to be a certain number, but you know what I mean? Like someone that's lower that next year, like, I think if things go the way I think, they could be like top 50 next year or even higher, something like that.
That's a great question.
I kind of sprung that on you guys. I know that could be hard.
No, that's a great question. Yeah, sure. I'll give you time. I'll give you time, darling. Don't worry.
I got one to help you guys start it off. I think Brooke Havoc is fantastic. I think she's going to make a jump. But go on. I just give you a chance.
But go on.
I have 2. And it just so happens they're next to each other on the list. Utami Hayashishita. I think that you know, Utami is tremendous. Like she is so friggin' good. You know, I always tell people, oh, you liked the Io Shirai match, the Io Sky, match that she had with her. You should watch anything else then, because she's gonna blow your mind. It was a good match. Don't get me wrong, but Utami is tremendous. It was just a weird year for her, the jump to Marigold, but you know. Sari is just one of these free spirits. I think that just wants to do whatever the hell she wants. So at some point, she's going to hit the bricks from Marigold. Julia's gone. Utami's the woman. Utami's tremendous. She's the female Kazuchika Okada in my brain. And Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, Thunder Rosa is a good one. Yeah.
Well, Heather Reckless is just by signing now is going to be a huge deal. I think that the TNA women's division it's unparalleled to anything else. Like it's just so good. So I think anybody who gets signed there is also Sol Ruka. Oh man, and she won me over. I mean, she was at 107, so it's not like she's that low.
I agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very good call, actually.
She's so good, and she's hungry. You know, talk about training and super hungry. And so I have no doubt that she's going to go up there. I mean, she won me over after like 3 matches. It was like sold. So I have no doubt she'll be. I would hope top 50, but I can't say that this far ahead because it'll look like you know.
We have Dustin in the chat is saying Delta was 219 in 2023 and 70 this year. It'll be interesting to see how her jump to WWE NXT will affect her ranking in 2025. Well, if she is presented well, I would assume that she would rise up the ranks big time. And I know 70 is pretty good as is, but you know, when you got the machine behind you, you know, you can probably rise up the ranks.
Who was 251?
I don't know. Like you get to 250 and you're like, all right, but
that's it.
Good job.
Let's put it away.
Yep, go ahead.
Let me pull up the short list here.
Oh, there's
a short list. Oh,
I love it. I assumed Marco Stunt was 501 when Kevin was on.
Yes,
absolutely.
I don't know. That's hard. If they were eligible, there'd be a ton of women, right? There'd be Britt Baker. There'd be you know, or like if you think of the women who retired, Charlotte Morgan, Jetta, but Asuka made it. Kairi Sane, for goodness sake. But didn't make it,
Mercedes Moné, 251. You heard it here first.
There you go.
That was probably it, though. That was probably it. To be honest.
Yes.
And then before we bring Zach on to promote this amazing Quizplex, Warren, you teased it in your chat. For those that don't know, the audio is simulcast right now over with Warren. Number 211. Do you know who that is? Without looking it up, do you know who 211 is? Because you said you were going to give me a hot take on Saya Tilda? Aida?
Aida.
Is that an I? Is that an I? Okay,
nice.
That wasn't even close.
Yeah, sorry.
That wasn't even close.
I looked real quick, looked like a T. Yeah, Tita.
It's not even close to it.
Ida.
Oh my word.
Good work. Good work there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I totally knew it off the top of my head, by the way. It wasn't that I had
I need your in-depth.
What do you want to know? Like, she's in Stardom? She's a Stardom girl?
You said we were going to break down. I said we were going to break down everybody, and you go, I'll give you my Dynamite.
Right.
And you went, I'm going to give you a Dynamite soundbite on 211. That happens to be who 211 is.
You did not say. Did you see that?
Well, we said that behind the scenes, yes.
Oh, wow. Good going. You picked 211.
Now PLUGGO is holding him accountable, apparently.
That's right. Accountability, friends, is important.
She's a former future Stardom champion, and she's in Stardom.
You cage matched her, did you not?
Hey, the allegations. These are some pretty serious allegations. You need to be pulling up some receipts here, lady.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Well, I know you don't know that off the top of your head, so yes, that's
I know she's a former future Stardom champion. I do. Yes, I don't know what. Yes, I do. Did you know she was in Stardom?
Yes, I know. Of course,
well, there you go. Did you pull up Cage Match?
No, I know that she's in Stardom.
Why is it so surprising that I had to pull up Cage Match to know that she was in Stardom?
Mr. Warren Hayes.
because I kind of know this stuff.
Yeah. Calm down, Warren. Calm down.
Yeah, your specialty is former future of Stardom winners.
That's good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's just stir the pot.
We have our buddy Scott, who is a Thunder Rosa hater.
That's true.
Says, what do you guys think of the best women's wrestler, Deonna Purrazzo, who whooped Thunder Rosa 3 times this year?
Scott, I don't appreciate your.
I don't appreciate that either, Scott. Thunder Rosa got our theme song, brother.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay, I was like, why I love Thunder Rosa, but
I love Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa and I are friends on Twitter.
Yeah. Scott is not a fan.
Not a fan.
I have Thunder Rosa's phone number.
Look at that.
That's awesome. I awkwardly
Thunder Rosa's cage match.
I got that little clip because I was at Warrior. And I was like, JPJ, Thunder Rosa's like 5 feet from me. I just was on her vlog, but she's back. He goes, you got to talk to her. You got to talk. I was like, sure. And then he was like, and I was like, hey, listen, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but we would love it for our show. We're huge fans. And like the video of her literally, because I didn't know how to work the phone. She was going to turn the brightness on. And I go, I don't know how to do that. And I did it and literally blinded her like it was a hostage video. And then she goes, they told me to say this.
Truly.
It's one of the greatest clips of all time.
It is. All right. We have our buddy El Smark Nerico in the back. He is coming on. Quizplex is returning.
Bringing back the NWA power.
Yes. Quizplex is returning, and he's going to promote it a little bit. He's going to talk about the charity and things of that nature. So we're going to bring him on for a few minutes just to promote that. And here he is, the host of Quizplex, El Smarknerico.
Hello, friends. How's it going?
How are you?
Hi. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Warren.
I don't recognize you.
He's new to Love Wrestling.
It's an absolute secret identity here, but
he just got here. This is his first time on air. Actually, this is his Love Wrestling debut.
Oh, great! Lots of debuts tonight.
Yes.
Well, I gotta tell you, I've made a very fatal error. Before I put this mask on, I had some very spicy chicken wings. The residual fumes are like migrating up the mask and somewhat blinding me.
That's fair.
So I'm gonna do my best to keep this together and promote what needs promoting.
Yes.
Why is he
sir.
why is he crying?
Oh, it's been a day. It's been a day. Yes. Quizplex, I'm here to talk a little bit about our Halloween edition, our Back from the Dead edition of Quizplex. For those who don't know, Quizplex is our monthly pro wrestling pub trivia show here, where contestants try to pick up the W by answering pro wrestling questions. But here is the kicker. Victory can be purchased on Quizplex because the money goes to a great cause. Anyone who's watching live or even before the stream, they can buy points for their favorite player by donating to the game's charity. Now, here's the bit of a twist, a bit of a logistical flaw that I had in that thing is the returning champion gets to choose the charity. For our Halloween edition, our Back from the Dead edition, it is only past runner-ups who are returning to the show. So we actually don't have a charity in mind for this one. So what we're going to do is you can donate to any charity, as long as it's not rooted in any ists, isms, or obics. If you have a good cause that you want to donate to, you go ahead and you do that. You throw some money their way. You let us know who you want to buy points for, and we'll distribute points accordingly. And who knows, maybe you're going to help one of the amazing players who are actually PLUGGO JPJ. I snuck a little video while I was waiting in the green room. Yep. If you want to buy victory for any of these amazing players, you have the opportunity to do so. On Quizplex, we've got I think I put it at the bottom.
Yeah, you want me to do it?
Yeah, if you don't mind. If you don't mind.
Yep.
Because again, check out this lineup of contestants that we have coming up on Quizplex this month. Kristara, Veda Scott, Big Trouble, Ben Bishop, Puff, Little Mean Kathleen, Miles Blackwell, The Thickness, Reed Matthews, and Matt Viviani are all returning to Quizplex. And again, if you want to help any of these people out, all you have to do is make a donation to the charity of your choice. We're going to open up the scoreboard very soon. You're going to know how many dollars buys how many points for your favorite player. And we will be live here on Love Wrestling on October 29th, immediately after NXT.
Awesome. That's quite the list. That is quite the list of contestants right there. That's a good bunch. That'll be another fun one.
Dude, I am thrilled because usually I am scrambling to find just 3 players at the 11th hour of a given month. And luckily, I had 8 very enthusiastic contestants. I had people reach out to me, which was a wonderful feeling. I'm
disappointed that you ducked us once again.
Yeah.
We're former runners-up.
Technically, we're former runners-up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I almost called you by the other guy's name, El Smark Nerico.
Thank you. Thank you. No shoot names here, brother.
No. All right. Well, that's a lot of fun. Can you remind people one last time when the date? You're right after NXT, but when Quizplex will be airing so that people can start getting those donations out once the door is open for that.
Absolutely. October 29th here on Love Wrestling, immediately after NXT. We've already set up the YouTube link, so if you want to go check it out, I put a couple suggested charities already in that list, and a lot of them are charities we've already contributed to on past games of Quizplex, including the Trevor Project, Music Cares, the Native American Rights Fund. Really great causes, and if you want to donate to any of them or any other great causes, of course, there's these tragic hurricanes, and there's a lot of support needed to help rebuild what's going on in the States. So if you want to help out that way, that's another way you can help out these players pick up the victory and help out. Again, we don't mind telling you that victory can be purchased on Quizplex because the money goes to a great cause.
100%.
But with that, again, October 29th here on Love Wrestling, immediately after NXT. PLUGGO JPJ, I thank you very much for your time. Warren, Kristen, it's so great to see you.
Feel free to air your grievances about the PWI top 250. El Smart Jericho.
I don't have such an extensive list that I want to spill out right now. Ultimately, I just want to get this mask off my face so I stop.
And ultimately, I just want to keep him here long enough to let it burn.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
Thank you. Thanks for hopping on, El Smart Nerico. We looking forward to that.
It is a pleasure to meet you for the first time.
Pleasure to meet you.
Time ever.
Mark
Yeah, Smart no Jamiroquai.
Have fun. Hopefully you can fix your burning face.
He's like, get me in the lobby, guys. Get me in the lobby. Get me out of here.
For the love of God.
Oh,
anyway.
Boris is in the house.
Boris
What up?
popping in. What up? Excellent. That is a good cause. That is quite a list. We were just talking about Kristara, and she's in there.
I'll have to watch.
Yeah. That is a real little mean Kathleen rules.
How good is Puff at trivia? How good is he?
Well, he's a runner-up, so he didn't win.
He got hosed. They're saying
he did get hosed. Yeah, no, he
got hosed. But
he got screwed.
Puff is a fantastic individual. We had him on this show, and he's wonderful.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah,
I met him at a C4 show maybe 18 months ago at this point in Ottawa, and I was chatting with him, and just say, "Hey, how you doing?" And he was at his merch table, right? I don't want to give the impression like, "Hey, I met him and we started chatting. And we went to," I was at the fucking merch table, and I say, "Hey, you got some nice shirts." And all he talked about after is putting over Kevin Blackwood, who did his designs. And all he did was like, "It's Kevin Blackwood, man. He's so talented, dude. Like, he's such a great wrestler. And on top of that, look at these designs." And he did it like he spent like 2 minutes putting over Blackwood's work. Tremendous.
That's awesome.
We have Casey Diamond saying Kristara is a future legend.
Current legend. I
would say current.
She's fantastic.
I would say becoming a current, but yes, I would agree. Would.
We're 3 likes away on this stream from hitting 25. Please do that.
Is true.
Please smash that. Please tell your friends, like, share, so the algorithm likes us and direct it.
When we hit 25 likes, we will be breaking news on this show and announcing the next match for LPW 31.
Could be a familiar face. Could not. You never know.
It could be.
So as we kind of like get towards the tail end of the, what do you guys, outside of growing the women's list to greater heights in terms of a number, what other goals do you guys have as you've seen the 250 become as big as it has? What are some other goals that you might have for this list, personal or professional, or just whatever?
I really like when people say, "Oh, I've never heard of this person.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go look at their matches." That is, to me, the ultimate goal. I mean,
that is the goal.
Yeah, the goal too is that we just want to celebrate the women who sacrifice and bust their ass, but also it has, especially on the Joshi side, it has brought a lot of attention to individuals that maybe don't have that name recognition, and that's always cool.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think that's what the list should do more of, as far as its promotion side goes. Like, of course, like, I understand, right? It's a business, and the lists, the 500, specifically the 250, they drive sales, so I understand why you do it. So that's fine. I understand that's its principal reason for existence. But then again, I wish that's something I'd like to see more of, more favoring exploration as opposed to inciting people to dig their heels in. And I wish people would open themselves up more to that. We're in a really weird time in professional wrestling and all my in fandom, I should say, where people are not curious anymore. They're just not curious. They don't reach out. There was a time you wanted to watch some New Japan. You had to run after tapes. You'd have to hear about something and you're like, "Oh, this is pretty good." And then you see something, you go, "This is pretty good. Where else can I see it?" And then you go for tapes, you find the more illicit ways of transferring, television programming. But you'd have to work for it. And that curiosity is not there. We have an entire generation of fans who have been spoon-fed one thing, and that's where it ends. Whereas one of the benefits, one of the great things of this list is to look at the top 10, and instead of being, "Why the hell is Sari at number 6?" If you don't know who she is,
look her up.
Then it's like, well, yeah, look her up. Yeah. And the thing is that I'm old enough to remember when looking up foreign wrestlers was hard. Now it is the easiest thing in the world.
Literally.
It is so easy.
I'd like to personally blame you, Warren, for not having vignettes explaining every single one of these women on this list ready to go.
But
yeah, honestly, that's fair.
Honestly, that's the thing that drives me the most crazy because, and obviously we're talking pro wrestling here, but like, I'm a big sports person in general. So like whenever I would see Sports Illustrated come out with a list of something, or, you know, even if it was something like sports movies and there were movies that I've never seen on the list, I wanted to go watch the movie that was in the top 25 list that I've never seen.
I feel like it. Yeah, and it's the same thing in music. Like,
yeah,
you know, you feel like at some point it's just like, I have never listened to this band. I've never seen this wrestler. I've never seen this movie. Well, maybe I should check it out. And then you form your own opinion instead of digging your heels in and saying so-and-so should have been higher on the list.
Which, fun fact about this, if you guys do the digital download, they even have YouTube links that you can click on and watch matches, especially in the top 10. So, yeah. So, like, if you're like, I don't know who this is, boop, right there. They're making
how long it took me? Do you know how long it took me to realize that was what that was? For a second, I'm like, why did Kevin? What is this? Did he leave something in the print version? No.
It's just, and like, you know, I was never a tape. You know, I know I was never a tape trader or anything like that. Like, I know that world existed and, you know, stuff like that. I was never that. But literally, all you have to do now is just search a name and you can find a dozen matches of almost anybody you ever want to see. It is so easy. You can watch it from your hand or your pocket or whatever. And the fact that's, and you know, this is a societal thing. It's not just wrestling where people have that mindset, which is a larger problem. That is for a different type of show. But it's just
but it's crazy. Like it's still crazy to point out that, maybe because like I'm old enough to remember a time where there was no internet, right?
Yeah.
So the idea of having the entirety of the human experience available at your fingertips, like everything online to me, it's still mind-boggling to this day. It's still very science fiction-y, and people aren't even bothered to Google shit up. Like, you know, and you're like, all you have to do is pull out the sci-fi device in your hand that allows you to connect with people from all across the world and not just via, voice.
Yeah.
All you have to do is pull that out. I know it's in your pocket. And do a little search and you'll find a thing, you know. It completely boggles me that people aren't more curious and instead prefer to dig their heels in more. It's insane to me.
I'm curious about that and going to dig my heels in about that. Boris is the best. Hi, Mrs. Pluggo.
Hello, Mrs. Pluggo.
The first lady of Between Two Beers, more like the first lady of Boris's.
I was going to say, well, you guys won. That, you know, they had a newlywed game.
They convinced Mrs. Pluggo to do a stream. It was wild, and we won.
Really?
The newlywed game.
It was a newlywed game. It was Boris and his Mrs. versus Pluggo and Mrs. Pluggo, and Mrs. Pluggo won.
And I won at life because she's a smoke show, and I get to.
Well, there you go.
Show people that she's real.
There you go. There you go.
She's real. I still tell
it's
that
not your burner. It's not your burner.
Show people she's real.
Not my burner. That's not my burner wife. That's my real wife. As Warren asked me one time on a behind the scenes. That's your wife? Yeah. You got any money? No.
Oh wow.
No.
Wait, what? What did you ask him?
If I have money.
There were two questions. The
Did I
first
say
one
that?
Is that your wife or you got money? You got
okay, that's what I said. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You got money?
I will say this. We hit the 25 likes, friends.
Oh, we did.
And we have two people on the committee of the PWI top 250.
Yep.
And I think this match ties in perfect to that.
I will hit the button, Pluggo. You want to plug it?
Sure. I can do
Here he
that.
is. Breaking news here on Between Two Beards. We have the next match announcement for LPW 31, and it is right here. LPW, what?
I was to say LPW 31,
Yeah.
Diary of a Mad Grappler, October 25th, Taryn from Accounting and Stephen Crow, Ride or Die, or taking on the Canadian Goose, your champion of salvation, and Riley Cruz, TFA on the list of the PWI top 250. That match is gonna rule. Ride or Die are your forever
the
champs.
longest reigning champions in LPW history.
Now, if they win this match in a couple of weeks here, now does that bump her up? Or bump her down.
No, maybe.
Wait, what?
No, it would not.
I
It would not.
can't
The list is over.
see
It's already out.
Or do we for next
it's
year? Or do
out.
we need to Venmo
No,
you guys
yeah,
some
you
more
wouldn't.
money?
No,
I think I'm
No,
thinking
the
that far
list-
ahead.
yeah. What are you thinking that far?
You can vend me money, but that doesn't mean
Oh,
Yeah, 100%.
you can go ahead.
100%.
But I might forget between now and then. So.
Yeah. Do you guys
I
want to
send you like a weekly $1 Venmo.
Yeah.
The TFA reminder.
I
The
love
TFA
it.
reminder.
Wow, a whole $52. Wow.
Yeah, I was like $40.
Hey, it's not Canadian. I'm in the States. It's not Canadian money. It's real money.
Wow.
It's still 40 bucks.
Real money, brother. Our country
Not
might not
$100?
exist in like 25 days. So
That's true.
let's
Let's be nice to our
get
friends
there when
up
we
north.
get there. Are you all down to talk some Wrestle Dream a little bit?
Yeah.
Sure.
Hell yeah.
Oh, well,
Hell
real
yeah.
quick, we got a really,
Oh.
really fun question for
Oh, was there
Dustin
another
right
question
here.
I missed? Sorry, go ahead.
You
Yes.
did, because I was going off about Mrs. Pluggo and Mrs.
Oh.
Boris and whatever. I'm pushing the buttons now because I'm a bum.
Yeah.
Do you ever see the list going up, the rankings going beyond just a year, perhaps like the top 250 of the past 5 or like something along those lines?
Like a decade list?
like an
Maybe a
all-timer?
decade list and all, something.
I mean, you could. I think that would take forever. It's
Yeah.
hard enough
That'd be
for the
fun,
year. I mean, it'd be really fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
did-
if,
Man,
an
would that be-
all-decade team, like if you did like an all-decade team or an all-century,
All-decade.
all-century, you can kind of do things like that.
Like a baseball team.
Yeah, how they do
Yeah,
that,
like
like
a
they have the
baseball
the NBA all-century team, and it's the last, whatever. If you did like,
Like
I didn't want to
that's-
bring up your Braves fandom because that's probably a sensitive
I like
subject.
that. We
You know.
should do that.
This year-
Do you
this
guys
year-
want to?
that'd be
Yeah.
fun, right?
Yeah,
Like
let's
an
just do
all-century
that
team?
right now.
I'm
Just-
one.
Or
right
like
now,
a,
the
like
decade's
you
not done
could
yet.
go, you could really go anywhere you
I
want. You
told
could
you
do-
I was
could
going to
do
have you
by-
on for hours.
You could go by decades. You could do
Get my money's
like
worth. for it.
wrestlers of the
point.
decade. You
Money.
could do century. You could do a bunch of stuff that would be very cool.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Then you start talking about different eras and how you match,
Mhm.
this era with the current era, and it's like then you start having these big time like.
Then you can. Yeah, I like the idea of the century. Then we can. Then
Well,
but it would give everyone a great excuse to go watch some AJPW, like straight off the bat.
but
we
AJ.
but it'd be really, really hard to rank based on any certain criteria because that wouldn't apply.
It's fair.
Oh, you put Akira Hakuto in #1 everywhere, and then
Oh, sure.
There it
that'd
is.
be fine. That'd be great.
List
There
is
you
over.
go.
We don't even have
Not
to.
Mildred
No, I
Burke or
think-
anything, but
I think
Yeah.
we
No,
just-
no, and Minami Toyota and Lioness Asuka.
Why do I feel like this sounds awesome in theory, but once we sit in that war room, Warren's just gonna body all of us. and be
oh
like,
my god,
This top 10 is mine.
Nobody should have let Warren on any committee. Let's be honest. That guy
Wow.
he loves to
Wow.
argue. He comes in just like I'm ready.
I mean, that's what
I'm
you're
ready.
there. That's what you're there
Is
for.
there okay? You don't have to name names, but is there anyone else on the committee that it's like I'll go toe to toe with Warren? I'm fine with that.
No,
yes.
actually,
Wait,
Ooh,
she
yes.
says no. You say yes.
talking Pat.
Yeah,
Pat.
Pat loves to argue. What are you talking about? It's fun talking with Pat.
It's the two French Canadians,
Yeah.
believe it or not, that
Yeah.
are like, yeah, let's go.
See, like,
And
The
then we-
rest
and
of
then
us
we-
are like,
And then
I would
and-
100%.
and then Pat and I start talking in French, and no one understands. It's tremendous. It's tremendous.
yeah, we're like not fair. Quick.
that would be
talking
me though. I would be in the
smack
room.
about us.
I'd be like, all right, and I would start bickering. Not on purpose, but like I would be one of the guys that'd be like, no,
The
no.
Boston would come out of you.
Yeah, no. We'd just be talking about whatever.
How do you shut that down? Do you just go? Is there a time limit? Is there a buzzer? Is there?
Yeah, it's like a
No,
30-second.
I shut him off. Okay.
I envision it so in the NFL, right? When they choose the people, which I didn't know this my whole life, but in the NFL, when they're picking the Hall of Fame guys, right? How they choose the Hall of Fame is they have somebody, either a former coach, player, somebody, go up there in front of the room of people who can vote, and they do like
They
a
make a case.
pitch. They
Yeah,
make a
make a
case
case.
and do a pitch for the guy.
Oh, horrible.
I can envision that Warren would want to, like, that's Warren at the top of the room going,
Shows up with
all
his
right, Camille.
suit and
And
tie.
then he gets up there and he just does
He
his
filibusters until they just.
Yes.
Yeah.
and
we
then he
don't
goes,
even ask him. He just
you know,
sneaks in the side door and
whether
does
it's
it.
virtually or not, that's how I envision Warren
Just
would attack this.
He
And be
just
like,
sneaks
all
in
right,
the side door.
here we go.
The
Why do you
committee
think
he's
he's
on.
not? Why do you think he's not on the 500? We can't handle it. Kevin is very good about mediating and go, all right, that's
Hey,
enough.
Warren,
Kevin is a very good mediator. I will give him that.
There was one rant he went off about luchadoras and how they don't make the list a lot because of tag, and he went off for a good 5-10 minutes, and Kevin's like, all right, anyway.
Let's pump the brakes. 10 minutes. 5,
Shots
sure. 10. Come on now.
Kevin's 5 is a lot for those meetings. Kevin's like, all right, anyway. Kevin's like, great point. So anyway.
That's not what he said. No, he actually said it's a very good point that we should consider moving forward.
Yeah.
But that's what a great mediator does.
Shuts you up.
It has been decided
right,
that Kristen is welcome anytime.
The thing is that I'm right. That's the thing, is that I am correct in this assessment because I feel that the way that the criteria is set up is it's very American. No, listen, it's very an American way of perceiving pro wrestling, and that's not just how it works in Mexico. That's why the luchadoras are not as far up on the list, because we're not supposed to consider like tag matches, 6-man.
Well, yes, it's got nothing.
So considering that the majority of matches that happen, and not just for the luchadors, but for the dudes as well, most of the matches that happen are trios matches, are 8-mans, and so on and so forth. The luchadors are at a disadvantage on top of the fact that there's practically like just one match per show.
Why do you think
there's a trios match?
There's a tag list for that kind of thing now. There's a tag list.
But there's not a women's tag list is the point. And they're not all tag teams. And here's another thing, is that I know on the tag team list, these people most of the time are actual tag teams. If it's just people thrown together for tags, well, that's mostly how it works. See,
the luchadoras
you are America centric. You are US centric. you don't open yourself up to other cultures. This is the curiosity I was talking about.
Whoa, that's enough.
Oh, that's on me.
Yeah.
That's on me. I'll take that one.
Do you see what I mean? Do you see?
Jeez.
I love it. I want to be a part of this.
I'm kicking him off the committee. I'm kicking him off.
No.
My call.
Whoa. It's getting deep.
All right. My God. Wow. We're just going to talk about the main card, if that's all right. That's fine.
Talk a little
I want to know more about the deception within this committee.
Well,
okay.
I mean,
I have to give me 1 second and I'll be back.
All right.
I'll tell you why, but I'm going to run off for just, you can imagine. We don't need to say it on air.
Got it.
I'll be right back.
Fair.
That's very fair.
Yeah, but if you want a more in-depth, we went a little bit more into the pre-show earlier today on Firmly AEW, me and Drew Nicholas. But Brian Cage did defeat Atlantis Jr. to become the new Ring of Honor TV champion. Anna Jay defeated Harley Cameron. The Acclaim defeated MXN, which the real star of that show was Rico. Was the third man.
Yeah.
Rico was the third man. Rico, he's like 65 or something.
Like 65. He's tremendous. And he still has the same fest.
Yeah.
Just amazing stuff. He looked tremendous. Tremendous.
Good stuff. And then there was an 8-man tag. Alex Reynolds, Silver, and the Premier Athletes against the Outrunners and the Conglomeration, which the Outrunners and the Conglomeration won. The Outrunners got the pin. They're clearly over. They're giving them some rubs. We saw a rub on Dynamite last night as well with the handshake with FTR and all that stuff.
Really, like, just really quickly, it's fun to think of, FTR and the Outrunners in the ring. It's like the two dichotomies of like 80s wrestling of throwback
100%.
wrestling, right?
Where the Brainbusters versus the Rockers, or like kind of like whatever it is.
Exactly.
It's
exactly.
Amazing. It's amazing.
It's tremendous.
I liked it a lot. I really enjoy. I said this on Firmly. I really enjoy the Outrunners a lot. I like the shtick. They're funny. Their matches are pretty, they fit the vibe. They're good. Let's relax a bit. Let's not. I'm not talking to the fans. The fans have them stay over. They are over. They've earned the right to be over with their shtick and how they're performing. I I don't want them to have like an eliminator match with the Bucks in a week and a half. Like I just don't
agree. Okay, so what you mean? I agree.
We're not there yet. Like they got a good thing going. They can keep that thing going for like 2 more months, before we want to talk about because they're a good act, and I think they're an act that could work and eventually get to that point where we are actually thinking about and rooting for them to be tag team champions. I just don't want them getting over so quickly, kinda, to make them make a mistake.
I'm even of the opinion that they really don't need to ever rise above their status right now. I think they're tremendous where they are. I think if they're pushed, it's going to become like the Acclaimed at some point where people are just going to get, we're sick of seeing them. It's always this, now they're in a nice little spot. Just continue with that. It's good. Yeah. It's a good mid-card act that people get excited for. Not everything has to be a top guy thing. It's fine.
Isn't that what FTR's thing is? Top guys.
Yeah. See, there you go. So you can't even do that.
Yeah, you can't do it, right? Top guys, mid guys. No, the Outrunners. The Outrunners rule.
It's a good act.
Yeah, they're great.
They're fun.
Great.
They're fun.
And then we got to the main. We're at the main card here. And
I love this show, by the way.
Oh, it's amazing. Real
top three AEW pay-per-view of the year. It's extraordinary, and I'm surprised that not more people are buzzing about it on that level. I thought it was a phenomenal show. I do my own little dopey ratings, out of 5 stars. I didn't give anything under a 3.5.
Yeah, I thought,
it's just an amazing show. I thought it was just a blast to watch.
Yeah. Would you have probably Revolution probably as the top show?
I would. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Revolution's an all-timer. Revolution's an all-timer.
Yeah, it was really good.
Was that real glass?
This was excellent. I thought, no skips on this whatsoever. No. Every match was good to great or better.
Yeah.
And it started off with a great one because Heyman, Adam Page, and Switchblade Jay White. Holy moly!
Who was expecting that? Who was expecting that to be that good?
I know. Yeah.
It was just tremendous.
We're just talking about the first match here. A tremendous opener to Wrestle Dream between Hangman and Switchblade.
Here's a little inside baseball. I was at my father's 85th birthday party.
Whoa.
Dinner, birthday. I should say.
Yeah.
Before, so I got to, he's 85 years old, so we're not partying till 11, right? So, when I got back, I had missed the first 2 matches of the main card, which I watched later. But Kristen was texting me while I was at the restaurant finishing up. She was like, "Oh my God, I can't wait you to see Jay White versus Adam Page."
Mm-hmm.
She said it was just tremendous. So I was doubly excited. I was super stoked, and she was right. It was
so good,
phenomenal, just
incredible,
so good,
incredible stuff. And I think they made the absolute right decision with Jay White winning that match. He had just come back. He's talking about going for world championship gold and promos. And I get it. Hangman to me is, I know he's not the world champion, but to me, he's the top guy in the company to me. He is the best.
He's the protagonist.
Yes.
Yes.
And I understand he's at a certain level, but as we saw last night on Dynamite with the thing they did at the end of the show with Jay White and him, he did not lose anything from losing this match at all. And Jay White he needed to come back and get a big win right out the chute, especially if you're having him talk about world championship aspirations. And I thought it was the perfect decision, a killer opener, just beautiful all the way around.
It was fantastic. Hangman Page continues my theory of him being incapable of having a bad match. I don't think it's, I think it's it's a law of nature at this point. And I don't know why people have so much anxiety regarding Hangman Page. You do an AEW podcast, JPJ, the anxiety around Hangman whenever he loses blows my mind. I'm if there's one guy who is fine in this company, and I'm completely okay, it's him. Yeah. And there's not, I've argued this multiple times. There is not a single other pro wrestler in this company that has been more consistently booked with vision than him. You can through line everything from the moment he lost to Chris Jericho on the for the inaugural World Championship title to now. You can through line all of it and it all makes perfect sense. They obviously didn't book him out 5 years, right?
Yeah.
But there's foresight and thought and care put into Hangman Page's booking, and I think he's the only guy in the company who benefits from that kind of care.
Yep.
But nonetheless, he's fine. I wish everyone would just chill out.
Because people love him, rightfully so. And then if you look at Jay White, just for this one instance, it's because the perception is, well, he's goofy, he's a comedy act, but he's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. It's okay.
He's tremendous. Jay White is great.
No, for sure. So it's just those people that are like, oh my God, Hangman's buried. I don't. He lost to Jay White. It's not like he lost to the deceased Alex Reynolds.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna complain about.
Oh no, poor Alex.
I know. We're gonna talk about Alex Reynolds. Alex Reynolds we'll get some chat.
Catching strays.
And
strays on beards. We love you, Alex. Hopefully you're okay.
I was really upset that we're gonna have to sit through more Hangman Adam Page versus Jay White matches. What a shame for us. What a shame for us.
Yeah, we what a loss. What a complete loss.
Man,
Jeez, Louise.
Terrible. But again, the very next match, I had high expectations for this very next match, and it exceeded them. Mariah May and Willow Nightingale, tremendous match. The best match of Mariah May's title reign, easily.
I agree.
I know you were giving Willow her flowers earlier, Warren. This is exactly the reasons that you were talking about her. She was the perfect opponent for Mariah May. She needed to have a banger of a match and have a good one and a good, healthy retain. And Willow was that perfect person.
Yep.
And at the end of this match, I said to myself, when Willow eventually does win that title, it is going to be truly a special moment in the history of AEW when she finally wins that. I loved this match. It was one of my favorite matches of the night. I thought it ruled. I loved it. I loved it all. I thought it was so good.
Do you want to talk on it, Kristen? Because it's the only women's match.
You said Warren, so I thought, okay.
I'm being gallant.
You're trying to bait me with that only one women's match on the show.
That was,
You're trying to bait me there, which...
Take the bait! That's what the show's all about.
I yell every time, and just when you think they're going to be okay and do another one, they rip it from you. I don't know what it's going to take. It's like it never changes. So I've tried to stop like yelling and getting very upset, because it's like, well, come on, man. Like, it doesn't matter. They're going to book how they want to. It really doesn't matter. And they do that thing where it's like, oh, here you go. Last second. Here's a pre-show. Here you are. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the crumbs, Tony Khan. But yes, this was a good match. In other words, this was a very good match. Willow is great. The thing I really like about Mariah is that she can match just about anybody she's fighting. She has a way of adjusting her wrestling style, her pace, obviously her storytelling and her gimmick, but everything about her changes depending on who she's fighting. And I love it. And I think part of that is time in Stardom and time in the UK. And then she comes here, and it's just like innate. She just changes it. And I think she really switched it up with Willow. And it would be really easy for Mariah to be completely overpowered by somebody like Willow, because that tends to be the thing. Even when Willow adjusts her stuff, she can still very much overpower, and it would have been easy for Mariah to be overpowered, but it worked. It worked so well. The two first matches, I am insanely ADHD. I will sit down to watch a show with Warren, and half the time I am just elsewhere. And those two matches, I couldn't turn away from. And it was the two that he wasn't around for.
I know.
He came home, and then we rewatched them. That's how good they were.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's out partying.
Living it up with dad. 85.
Yeah,
85. That's a good. That's
It's a good year.
It's a good. Yeah, it's a big one. That's a big number. But no, I thought those first two matches were what a way to start the show right out the gate with those two.
Tremendous.
Very, very good. And then it went into Jack Perry defending and defeating Katsuyori Shibata for the AEW TNT Championship. Another good, solid, real good wrestling match here. I think Jack Perry is on a different level since he's come back as the scapegoat. He's doing, in my opinion, his best work. And there was obviously a lot of stuff that happened after this match. But
He's doing the best work of his career, just like Nia Jax. Yeah, absolutely. Right on the same level.
No, I was laughing because my dad, I made him watch AW once because there were so many people that he knew from WWE.
Yeah.
That I said, okay, Dad, look, there's Cody Rhodes, there's Jericho, there's
Dean Ambrose,
Mox, Dean Ambrose, right? So let's watch this. And the one that he watched had a Jungle Boy match, and he couldn't unfocus from that all night. It was Jungle Boy. So it's like, Dad, that's the one thing he focused on. But
that's hilarious.
And I almost swore I have a scapegoat hat, but it's huge, and I almost wore that. And I really like this Jack Perry. He surprised me with how good he's a heel. And he's so good at wrestling as a heel. This was a good match.
Yeah.
I've commented that on my review that I think this is the best Katsuyori Shibata match that he's had since coming to AEW. I think we're all pretty much familiar with the story that he had, and that he wasn't supposed to ever wrestle again. And he's I'm glad that he's back wrestling. Don't get me wrong. When he started making his comeback, I was enthralled. He was always one of my favorite wrestlers, but he's always worked a little softer, a different style. Now I felt like we were getting the wrestler again, where he was in this match with Perry, doing some classic Shibata moves, reactions, no selling the chops, destroying the hell out of them, great power moves, and eating some offense at the same time. I really think this was Shibata's best match. I got a little heat for saying it wasn't as good as Danielson versus Shibata. I'm saying Shibata's match.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this was better than Danielson and Shibata. I still think Shibata wrestled more like himself in this match than what he wrestled with Danielson, which was a great match. Don't get me wrong. But that's what stood out to me here. Shibata here was the story, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then Pluggo, after the match, Jack Perry attacks Shibata, and then we see Daniel Garcia come down and make the save. It seems like Jack Perry's kind of dipping his toes in multiple ponds, but it seems like we're heading towards a Daniel Garcia, Jack Perry bout for the TNT Championship. But then not only Daniel Garcia comes out, we then hear MJF's music. MJF comes out, Perry attacks Garcia as MJF is making his way to the ring, and then MJF beats down Garcia some more. He said that he found the diamond ring at the pawn shop. He was going to hit him with it, and then a third person comes back, and it is Adam Cole, baby. As he makes his return, they showed him very much on purpose running down the ramp to show that his ankles, his feet are good. He's ready to go. He's healthy. MJF runs off, and then him and Garcia do a little fist bump.
I was worried for him running down that ramp, though.
Yeah. Pluggo, how'd you feel about a lot of returns, comebacks, a bunch of stuff? But the big news, obviously, Adam Cole.
I was like, be safe, Adam.
Yeah.
There's cords there.
Yeah.
Jump over those.
Yeah. Very deliberate, obviously, but I think all of us were
like, it's good to have Adam Cole back.
Oh God, please God.
Please God.
That's what we were doing. But good stuff. Adam Cole's back. He obviously cut a promo last night on Dynamite as well, trying to explain,
which made no fucking sense.
Sometimes
I'm sorry. With evil, no, you cannot come out and gaslight me and saying that like I'm coming after your evil when you're the one that created said evil. You turned on MJF. It wasn't MJF turning on you, and you're all like, You know what, Adam? That was a misstep. But no, I'm happy to see Adam Cole back. It's gonna be good. I'm sure that the feud with him and MJF is gonna be fantastic. I just was like, bro, I'm watching that going. You're gaslighting MJF into believing he's the bad guy when you're the one that kicked him in the nuts and stabbed him in the back, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
No wonder he doesn't trust anybody. Dude, yeah, by this
makes him a bad
guy. Can I ask you three are very good at this. I am just here. Does he really have hair? Does he have plugs? Is that real?
Yeah.
I mean,
is that real?
Yeah, dude, he did. Yes.
I thought it was working a little.
His hair?
I do. I just thought he was.
You don't see how it's completely different than it's ever been.
I just thought it was a different style, or he's just going crazy.
Zoom in on it, and you can see the.
Yeah, it's not great.
He allegedly has been flying to Turkey to get this procedure
You're
done.
lying to me.
I am not lying.
Turkey? Why?
Yes, that's the joke. Yeah, that's the joke. That's the meme. Apparently, because apparently there's this.
They do really good work over there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you go to Tijuana to get plastic surgery. You go to Turkey to get
go to Germany to get the gel in your knees and stuff. There's all special places in the world.
I legit, like, I noticed that his hair was getting a little, goofy. But I just thought he was like growing it out. But no, okay.
I mean, he is. Yes, technically they are doing something to grow it out, but not that way. Not that way.
No, before Adam Cole even said anything, Warren was like, "Come on, MT, what the hair?"
Yeah, but when he was coming out at WrestleMania, I'm glad you brought that up. I told oh come on, Max, fix your hair. Like,
what are we doing?
I know you're happy that the treatments are working, but Jesus Christ.
Okay. So silly me.
Yes.
I mean, all right,
I guess you wouldn't make fun of his hair transplant if he didn't have one, or whatever. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't go there, but I was just like,
I feel like someone brought up the Turkey flights too. I think it's Garcia who brought it up.
Yeah, I think it was Garcia
at some point.
Yeah, because what was Adam Cole's line
last flight to Turkey? Something.
Yeah, Adam Cole's the line last night was something like.
That's funny.
It was about the transplants directly.
His last line was MJF. I'm mad at you for me stabbing you in the back. It's your fault.
That was it. Hey man, gotta get it working somehow. We then had, this triple threat for the international championship. Like, I mean, what can't we say? Like, what? Perfect.
It's tremendous. It's a
perfect match.
Who called it, by the way?
Takeshita versus Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. This match was literally just amazing all the way through. All three men were excellent. Obviously, the drama and the storytelling towards the end of the match, but easily the match of the night. Like Warren says, we'll be in the debate for match of the year in a couple months when we start finalizing those lists that we all create and have. This match was it was just perfect. I thought it was perfect.
It was tremendous. It was, and they obviously gave a lot of place for Takeshita to do some wonderful things because he ended up winning. I thought he was in with two great guys to work with, and they're just doing inhuman stuff that you're like, nah, like we're humans in name only, Yeah. You guys are another type, and I'm another type. It's just, it was absolutely tremendous. That bastard driver through the table for Ricochet. What a tremendous spot. And you know what? What I liked about it is that it made sense because it took out Ricochet for the rest of the match. Then it just became Ospreay and Takeshita, and that made sense because what a hell of a spot. You don't get back up from that. It made sense on top of it. And the little drama at the end, it really didn't bother me because it sets everything, it sets stuff up. Most of the time what annoys me in finishes where there's DQs, well, not DQs, but a lot of shenaniganry happening, is that it's just for the sake of it happening, right? It's just like for the sake of it. Yeah. Now we set up some stuff. Now we set up Kyle Fletcher, he's turned.
You want to talk about hair?
You want to talk about hair? There you go. He doesn't have any implants though. He's fine.
Is he fine?
Well, I mean, he's fine on that. On the fact that he has a lot of it.
He's better looking than I am, Kristen. He's definitely fine.
The idea that he so the idea that Fletcher comes in and sets up all these matches, and you got Ricochet this week on last night on Dynamite still saying, hey, Takeshita, I'm coming for you, and I got the open challenge and all this. So still a lot of good stuff coming out of there. It didn't feel like we're just doing a screwball finish because we want to do a screwball finish. Yeah, it actually creates stuff, and I'm into that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, and then during the match, Ospreay tries to give the Tiger Driver to Callis, and then obviously post match we see Kyle Fletcher hit Will Ospreay with the Tiger Driver 91. So a nice little touch there. And then they had the segment last night on Dynamite where we saw Lance Archer and Brian Cage out there with them for the first light counter. We had heard about the arrangement or the trade or
the internet told me that was Drew McIntyre.
Oh, really? Yeah, Lance Archer did have a slightly different look to him last night.
The internet today was like, why does Drew McIntyre look so tired?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
What?
Okay, that's pretty funny though.
It is funny, but I don't. Yeah,
I couldn't look at them because I was so honed in on Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah.
One can attest to it. I was like, Kyle, stop.
Listen,
Stop,
I'd be honed in on Kyle Fletcher too. Let me tell you.
You want to talk about
so funny looking last night. It was just really great.
I'll tell you what. Like I know he was.
What?
When he wore that White Sox jersey, I was done with him. I was like, I'm out on the Kyle Fletcher.
Most losses in the history of professional baseball this season.
Wow.
Chicago White Sox. What are you doing? Have better taste.
Boston,
but
right?
Kyle Fletcher, just in general, like obviously, I knew about Aussie Open and how he was part of this great tag team and trio with Ospreay and stuff like that. But you want to talk about a guy capitalizing on his opportunity. His tag team partner obviously got injured, has not been around, and he has, in my opinion, solidified himself as a top star for the next however long he wants to do this in AEW. Like, to me, and again, I'm assuming both of you probably have watched more Mark Davis matches than I have. I have not seen many of them, but like in my eyes, I'm never even thinking about putting Kyle Fletcher in a tag team ever again. Like,
no, I think Aussie Open is unfortunately done. Much to the chagrin of Mark Davis, I'm sure. No, I mean, even in the tag team, even when they were going hard, Aussie Open, and we're basically like in the conversations for being one of the best tag teams in the world. Yeah, you just look at Kyle Fletcher and you're like, it's just a question of time. It's a question of time before this kid figures it out, puts it all together, and tears the house down. He's going to be a top star. I mean, it's all up to him at this point, really. Yeah. Of course, the push, and Tony sees it. Tony Khan sees it because he wouldn't be pushing him. But it's just a question of time. Still, he's going to be a top guy. He's going to be a guy like in 10 years. He's going to be inevitable. He's just going to be one of these people that is going to be, provided he stays healthy, of course. He's just going to be a top guy. He's always had the tools, and he's putting them together. He's putting them together really quickly. But you know what? Having his pal Will Ospreay around to sort of like help build them, put them together, kind of thing.
Was that a ghost?
Right.
Yes, this is a ghost. This is my
sorry.
Hi, buddy.
Hi, ghost cat.
Randomly.
Yeah.
Jeez, that was
he is powerful. He is powerful. Just kicks that door. He's like, my time in here.
Lou said, did somebody say Kyle Fletcher?
It's like, you got something on my boy, Kyle Fletcher? Let me get up and in this. And he was just, and now he's
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Warren.
Now he's leaving.
No, that's fine. I had pretty much said it. But yeah, Aussie Open is done. Like there's there's no going back. Yeah, there's no going back. And
obviously, I want to leave us with plenty of time to talk about the BCC stuff from the end of the show and what was on Dynamite. But we then had the Swerve MVP thing. I know a lot of people, myself included, was expecting Bobby Lashley to show up. He did not, but I thought overall still a solid segment, still fine. And we know we're getting the Shelton Benjamin match in a couple weeks. He made his in-ring debut last night by handling Leo Rush in a good little match for his debut. It was very good. I very much loved in this how he put Shelton. I loved when Swerve gave Shelton Benjamin his flowers. And he was like, hey, man, like a lot of us black wrestlers would not be able to be in this thing without you. Like I love the respect and the admiration that Benjamin is getting from the fans because he's getting major pops as well. When he showed up on screen, that place exploded.
When he showed up on Dynamite, everyone went nuts. Like people love the Shelton. They really do.
Yeah. And it's happy to see him like that. And Swerve saying the things he said, you knew that was real and from the heart. That was a very nice moment there.
I agree.
I also really, really like knowing Prince Donna's side job now. His side hustle.
Selling weed to high school kids.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm so glad they brought that back.
Yeah, me too. Trying to shill his coffee, selling weed to high school kids. You know,
Swerve did something perfect, like
Yeah,
you
he
said,
was like-
from the heart, and then he was like, "But Nana's my family," but he does sell weed to kids. I was
Yeah.
like, Swerve, you're all over the place today.
I thought it was
love
well done. Yeah, Swerve kind of going back and forth and talking
was
about
very
the pros.
good.
Yeah, talking about the
Very
pros
good.
and the
Very
cons, but like
good.
making it humorous and not too serious. Like I thought it was very well done by Swerve. I thought it was the whole thing worked for me. And I would assume we'll see Bobby Lashley maybe during that match or after that match in a couple weeks with those two. But
I did see a report somewhere that they thought about debuting Bobby at Wrestle Dream, but based on everything that went down, they don't want to overshadow it.
You know what? I'm so happy that they're taking their time with this because this angle is better for it. I'm really glad that they're not rushing it. They're bringing in. See, they brought in Shelton. They're giving it time to breathe. Like he was the centerpiece of this thing that they did at Wrestle Dream, right? And now Benjamin came out of Dynamite, had his match. Now they set up the thing with Swerve. See, it would have been a mistake.
Yeah,
So
it would have been
when
too
you
much
look at
too
this-
soon. And Benjamin would have been overshadowed. I feel like they're giving Shelton
Some
so
shine.
much time to be the guy right now that he is going to be. I mean, he's Shelton Benjamin. He's already established, but you know what I mean. He's going to be like established in AEW for another almost over a month before Bobby Lashley, who we all assume is going to be the focal point of this group, is
Lashley.
there. You know what I mean?
Lashley.
I think, I think if anything,
Bring that back, please.
I was hoping on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I was hoping.
Yeah, I don't think
Maybe
it would
he'll
have
start showing
overshadowed.
his glutes again. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we had, I'll tell you what, this little 2 out of 3 falls match right here between Beast Mortos and Hologram. This was a good one. This was a good one.
It was it was great actually. I'm a big Beast Mortos guy.
I am with you there. I would like to see him win matches eventually. Right now he doesn't need to. It's fine. But that guy has impressed me every time I see him. That power bomb he did on the knee. I know he's not the only guy I've seen do it. All right. But that when it happened, I was like, oh my God. Because like power bomb is like still to me growing up in watching wrestling in the early 90s, like powerbomb is a devastating maneuver. Like that is one of the all-time most devastating wrestling maneuvers. And this guy is doing a powerbomb backbreaker. That is
right on his knee.
Unbelievable. But anyway,
I do those every day.
Yeah, this match was good. Technically, Hologram still undefeated, but we did see him take his first pinfall, at least in AEW, but he's technically still undefeated with the 2 out of 3 falls. But I thought I am not very familiar with the Lucha Libre Lucha style of wrestling. 2 out of 3 falls is common.
Yeah, very common.
Yes.
Very common.
But this match was fun as hell. This match was fun.
It was a blast, and I Hologram is very good as well. He was really over during the residency when they did the collision stuff, and I find they're kind of struggling, on Dynamite, which I find a little weird. Just pair him up with some good people and let him do what he's good at. It's just as simple as that. But with Mortos, he's tremendous because Mortos is a fantastic base. Listen, it's a great match. I loved it. I thought it was tremendous.
Very good. Then it was time for the car crash. That was Brody King and Darby Allin, as you would expect with Darby. These guys, again, when they wrestle each other, good stuff happens. But this was that match where Brody King was just beating the crap out of Darby and throwing him around, and Darby just wouldn't quit and wouldn't die. And
that's every Darby Allin match.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but
it's a pattern.
Isn't it great that we're not fed up of it? Because there's something so satisfying about seeing a dude being thrown around like that.
It's unbelievable.
Just tossed around, and you want to get a guy like Brody King, to do that, who is already intimidating and huge and looks like a guy you would never want to cross to meet in a dark alley. Just like. It's fantastic stuff. It's always fun. It's always fun. And that bump off of the bump that Brody took being pushed off the turnbuckle onto the standing steps.
Yep.
And then Darby goes and coffin drops on top of that. I'm like, man, this is like these look like simple bumps, right? Because sometimes you see all these crazy. We saw a bastard driver through a table, you know, earlier in the evening. Now you see this, and it doesn't have the same spectacular aspect to it, but you're like, Jesus, like these legitimately hurt. There's no way to protect yourself on these. You know, they're awful to take. It was great.
Yeah. And then post-match, we actually saw Brody King and Darby have a little sportsmanship, and they do a little handshake, which was yeah, I mean, but yeah, out of character for Brody King a little bit, but they're both Brody King's
Warren hates sportsmanship.
No, it's not that I hate sportsmanship, but I like the idea of because Darby brings up all of their past, and they've wrestled multiple times in AEW. You know, why just have two guys just always hate each other? That would be fine too. You know,
Darby Allin has a history with every single person ever. By the way, I can't stand Darby Allin. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, let's go. Let's hear that.
Don't like him. It's like, I don't want this to sound horrible, but if the kid wants to die, just maybe let him. Like he's always trying to kill himself. I don't mean like I wish he would die, but it's like he's always trying to murder himself. And like, okay, so all right, like what are you waiting for then? I can't stand Darby, and maybe it's I'm not one who's usually like, oh, it's so small, he can't possibly defeat, Goliath. But with him, I am, and I can't stand that pink jacket. If I see it one more time,
that's an obvious choice.
They're actually selling those hoodies now. They're doing the hoodies. Yeah,
wow, really?
Why?
Personally, I think they're great, but I wouldn't.
Get one. See what happens.
No, I was about to say.
I would never buy one.
I could not pull it off. I think they're great. 15 years ago, I probably would have tried my.
I think preteen girls could pull it off, and that's probably about it.
How many super chats do we need to get on a Warren Hayes stream for you to buy a jacket and wear it?
DGNC would do it all himself.
Yeah, he probably would.
All right.
If Warren throw a number, it's happening. So DMC, all right, let's do it.
And if you want to throw a couple bucks our way, we'll take them too. Yeah. But yeah, that's awesome. But I can see that though with Darby. Like I get it. I'm kind of over the whole. I lived in my car. I was homeless. I need a little bit more to him. But yeah,
like we get it. You chose. So they don't like say, well, he chose to live in his car. He chose it. People are like, crash on my couch. And he's like, no, I got to use this for storylines in the future. Like, I don't dislike a lot of wrestlers. I do not like Darby Allin.
Fair enough.
I don't think he'll ever watch this, but don't.
He might. You never know.
You never know.
I could take him. Like, the thing is, honestly, I could take him because
you never know who's watching. Trust me.
Bring it, Darby.
I'm gonna never know who's watching.
Oh, jeez. Just tell them where.
I am afraid that Darby has not found the line that he won't cross yet. I will agree with you there. I'm like, I've been saying, I'm like, oh, some of those bumps. I'm like, bud. Oof.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people were saying that about Jeff Hardy too in the day, right?
I didn't look at him now.
Yeah, look at Jeff Hardy now.
I'm not.
Hey.
I'm not.
You're talking
that.
I mean, for other reasons than jump.
No, I just. Yeah. I don't. I mean, if that's what you want to do it. I'm all for you. Do you live your life? Different folks.
Well,
He's a professional. I'm not. I don't
want to ruffle any feathers. But I think Darby Allin is the next AEW World Heavyweight Champion, potentially. So I think the story lies in him going back after Mox. I think that's where the story goes, is eventually he's going to be, because Mox took the title shot from him. I would think that it might be Christian Cage, actually. That will be the next champ, but who knows? But I think Darby's the guy. I think that's the story, is they tell Darby kind of going through to get to
I don't know.
I'm just saying, maybe. I'm just saying, I know. But one thing they did do this pay-per-view is they had a kind of an awkward backstage segment with Jerry Lynn, where he's talking to Orange Cassidy, telling Orange Cassidy that in his whole career, if Orange Cassidy really tried and really, really tried, that he could be the guy. And then Hook walked by. I know you love Hook, Pluggo. And Hook was like, he's right. He's right. And then that was it. And so I was like, okay. So is that them trying to tease that Orange Cassidy is eventually, which I'm all for, but Orange Cassidy's eventually going to be going for the world title here in a second? Because obviously we have a couple more matches talking about, but at the end of the night, those two were very prevalent in what happened and things like that. So,
and that was the reason for the Jerry Lynn segment.
Yeah.
That was why.
Yeah.
That was because I too was like,
is that what you're telling me?
Jerry, like, I don't care that you dressed up as him for Halloween. That's fine. Yeah. But what are we doing here? Like it was completely random, but then it makes sense at the end.
Yeah.
I love backstage segments during a pay-per-view. It's my favorite.
There was no sarcasm there at
No,
all.
none at all.
That was 100% just dead honest.
For our audio listeners.
Yes.
She has.
You are listening to
our backstage segments, your contract signings.
Oh.
Yes, actually. And I actually don't mind contract signings as much as this guy does.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in the middle. I've seen some good ones. But we had an AEW World Tag Team Championship. Started off a little slow, but it got good. And by the end, the Young Bucks they had the working boots on. They were ready to go. And it was them versus Private Party. The Young Bucks do win with the TK driver. But towards the end of this match, you could feel and hear the crowd wanting Private Party to maybe pull the upset again. I thought there was enough story with the upset from the Dynamite at the beginning of the company that they could have maybe done it, and it would have got a good pop and kind of like, oh, maybe Private Party does have the Young Bucks number type of thing. The Bucks could have easily got it back, but seeing what we saw, especially last night on Dynamite involving the Bucks, I think that the chase with the Private Party is probably the direction they're going here. But yeah, I thought it started off slow, but it got really, really good towards the end, and the Young Bucks obviously retained. But the crowd felt like they wanted the title change by the time we were getting towards the end of this match pretty heavily, though they were behind Private Party.
I agree with your assertion of the match. It really feels like this match felt like at some point, because for the first half of the match, the crowd was dead. The crowd was not into it, and I really felt like the Jacksons went, okay, enough's enough. Now we got to win this crowd back, and they rallied and they got Private Party into it. My main gripe that I had, this is the only match that I really had a major gripe, but it's not even as much as the match itself than the build, because I didn't buy Private Party winning here. I didn't like the build where Private Party just 3 weeks ago was being destroyed by the BCC week in, week out. They were crushing, the Isaiah Cassidy got his hand crushed. Like, they were jabroned, for weeks. And then they pick up a microphone and they go, we're going to challenge the Bucks. And I'm like, no, you can't challenge the Bucks. You guys are nerds.
You almost died last week.
Like, what are you doing? So, like, this is the kind of situation, and I bring this up sometimes, that when we had the rankings in AEW back in the day, this is the kind of situation that would not happen, where you would have to build someone, you'd have to build a challenger, a team to challenge, and not just have the merry-go-round where it's like, okay, now it's your turn. This is just like every other wrestling promotion in North America that does this now, and now AEW does it too, which is a shame, because it was the rankings helped AEW do something differently. That was fun. Now it's kind of like, well, no, now that everyone can grab a microphone and challenge for a title. All right, well, who cares then? Well, and it diminishes the value of the cash-in stuff as well, which I already don't like. But it diminishes that value because anyone can grab a microphone and challenge. So who cares if you can cash in at any time? Anyone can ask for a match at any time at this point.
It's fair. Oh. I like it.
Lawyer.
Yeah. Right. We then had the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. Mark Briscoe defended and retained against Chris Jericho. I thought this was a good match. I have not I know a lot of people are very divisive about the Jericho stuff. I have not hated the Jericho stuff. I think some of it is over the top, and I'm like, okay, we didn't maybe need to do that. But I thought he's been putting on some pretty decent matches. I've kind of liked the Jericho stuff. I'm sorry. I'm going to let you lead this one. I'm going to let you lead this one then.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go off.
I did love the end of this match, how Jericho hit the J Driller and Mark kicked out, and then Mark beat him with the J Driller. I thought that was really good because in this feud, Mark Briscoe is who he is. But once Jericho mentioned Jay, Mark's attitude completely changed. And it was dead serious. I'm kicking your ass. You don't talk about my brother. And I thought the way the match played out, I liked it. I'm not thrilled that they seem to be continuing it. I thought it could have just ended with that, and then we do different things, but it is what it is. But I thought for what it was, I liked it. Kristen, I think you disagree, so I will let you lead.
It's not so much the match as I loathe Chris Jericho on a whole nother level.
Fair.
And it's not, I mean, there's other reasons, right?
Yeah.
There are other reasons to not like him. I also just find that after all that came out, they have been force feeding us him. And it's like every week there are fans like, this could have been a women's match anytime it's him. Because it's like, stop force feeding us him. Why is he put into every single storyline since? And some of it's like, not like this whole learning tree thing. Did they just dump that? This whole learning tree thing? Like, I can't stand him now, which is really sad because I hate to be this person, but in WWE and even the beginning of AEW, I loved him. The list thing was so over with me. I loved the list. I thought his stuff with Dean Ambrose and even now with Mox when they first started was so good. And now I just find that he's just shoved down our throats. And I don't think that he's a bad wrestler. I find it very hard that he ever could be, but I just can't stand him. And there are people that are like tied to him that I think could do better off without him. And I'm just tired of seeing him. And for a while, Warren was on the same page with me. And then slowly but surely, I pulled it out of him that he was like pro Chris Jericho. I don't understand the problem.
Jericho-holic Warren Hayes.
I think pro is strong, but I don't think what he's doing is like yeah. I don't know.
I look. I think okay. I understand why people. I always say this. I understand why people don't like Chris Jericho, and and that's fine. I think that the amount of dislike that he gets is shocking at times, and I don't think that it's representative of what happens live at the shows because he gets great reactions. His quarter hours when it comes to ratings always do well. Who really wants him off TV, right? It's like Chris Jericho retire, but it's like everything seems to be doing quite well. I even did a whole special show on my podcast where I had a guest on and we broke down the Jericho vortex. We did this about a year ago where it's like where everyone was saying they get sucked into the Jericho vortex and they come out worse off, or they don't get pushed. It's always Chris Jericho getting pushed, where we were like trying to explain to people that it's not Chris Jericho's fault if he goes into a feud with Ricky Starks and Ricky Starks afterwards doesn't do anything. That's Tony Khan's fault. Like that's not Chris Jericho's fault, and so and the thing is that look, the stuff that he was doing last year with Kenny Omega, before Kenny got injured, I thought that stunk. Yeah. I was part of the crew. It's like, well, maybe it's time for Jericho to take a little break. Then what does he do? Now he does the learning tree, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is great. Yeah. I like the learning tree stuff. I think it's fun. But I also think Chris Jericho is washed. I think I can say that with confidence. Physically speaking, I think he's washed. He's, I saw the Arena Mexico match that he had with Mystico a couple of weeks ago. Now it was awful. It was really awful. So physically, that's why he does these gimmick matches now. That's why he's doing a ladder match, right? Mask the weaknesses to highlight the strengths, right? Mm-hmm. Jericho's strengths are his charisma, his presence. Those are his and his command of a ring, nonetheless. But he just can't. Physically, I think he's done. Physically, I legitimately think he's done. If he wants to stop wrestling, that's fine. But as a TV personality, as a wrestling personality, look, the learning tree worked, and it salvaged him. When everyone was saying, no, he's got to get out of there. Chris Jericho does it again, reinvents himself, and he's got another full year of TV to follow. So good for him.
Yeah. Plug, how do you feel?
And I thought, and this has been, and the match with Mark Briscoe was probably my favorite Chris Jericho match this year.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was really good. Like, and at first I was like second. I was like right before the main event. Wow, that's some placement for this one. But it kind of fit there because it was a good match, but it kind of got everyone because nobody in the arena knew that Tony was ripping their hearts out before they exited the building, which I had no problem with. Main event: Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, AEW World Championship. If Bryan Danielson loses, his full-time career comes to an end. Hell of a match between these two.
Tremendous.
Really good. Long match, back and forth, physical. At one, I'm talking way later on in the match, but Bryan kicked out of the Death Rider at 1 towards the end of this match, which was a ridiculous spot. The crowd was losing it. And they did the spot where Moxley chokes him. Bryan comes to, he's fighting for the ropes. They kind of did a similar spot with Gunther and Sami Zayn in their main event a couple weeks ago, where it looks like he's going to get the ropes. The crowd is losing it. And Moxley just lays back, cinches it in. Danielson goes night-night. Remsburg has to call it. And obviously there's a whole bunch of stuff after the match that we'll talk about and kind of what bled over to Dynamite before we get out of here for the night because we've been going long. But let's talk about the match first. Whoever wants to go first, open forum, but I mean, just tremendous.
Fantastic match. Absolutely tremendous. And I really love the finish. And I think the finish was considered controversial, if I'm not mistaken, because
that damn plastic bag was back. It's always controversial, Warren.
No, but that's after.
That's after.
People don't like plastic bag.
No, they really don't. Oh no, they really don't like. People don't like to feel uncomfortable, right? They don't. They want they want to be in on it with their heels. They don't want the heels to actually be nasty, evil sons of bitches. They just, they want to be in on it too, right? But I love the finish. Like I think because even Kristen and I, right, we were watching, we're like, wait, it's done? Like what? Like I thought for a second, I thought Bryce Remsburg fucked the finish up. I thought he had ended the match too soon. I was like, really? But it made sense. It made sense in the match. It made sense that look, he choked them out. What did he do with the plastic bag a couple of months ago? Right, he choked the air out of them. So it's the same thing. It's like, so there's a nice full circle moment, and it just worked. Danielson just couldn't take it anymore. The whole story that Danielson has been telling all of us since the beginning of the year was, I'm falling apart, guys, but I love pro wrestling, but I'm falling apart. But I love pro wrestling, but I'm also falling apart. That's what he's been telling us for the better part of 2024. And Moxley said, I'm taking you out, pal. We're going behind the shed. It's done. It's like it's finished. So it all coalesced. It all made sense. And I'm annoyed that people didn't like this finish because it's the best finish in this circumstance. And we'll get to it. It also led to a tremendous angle, but it's the best. It's the best way to wrap this up. And it's the right decision. It was the right call for this finish. Any other way would have been a little strange. Maybe feel good in the moment, but wouldn't have had the long-term vision. Properly down.
100%. And then after the match, man, we see Claudio, we see Pac, we see Marina Shafir. They all come to ringside. Moxley's in the ring. They take the title bag and They take the title belt and immediately put it in a bag. To kind of put it aside. Immediately put it in a bag.
It was awesome.
Immediate. Like I don't even.
Because he ain't about that life.
I don't even give a shit. Get it out of it. Who cares?
He's not representing AEW. He's breaking
it's like a duffel bag too. There's nothing more like sinister than the duffel bag, and it's so funny.
Then they hand Moxley the plastic bag, and at that moment we see Darby Allin and Wheeler Yuta storm the ring. what we think is going to be a saving of Bryan Danielson, but Wheeler Yuta hits Darby Allin with the Psycho knee. He grabs the plastic, or Moxley basically hands him the bag and says, "You do it." And he starts choking Bryan Danielson with the plastic bag. We then get security coming down. They're beating the crap out of security. We then see Private Party. Jeff Jarrett comes out. Orange Cassidy comes out. They fend him off, and then Claudio grabs a chair and he puts it around Danielson's neck, and Moxley's just kind of looking at him and just gives him the command, and Claudio stomps the chair. Then the rest of the locker room comes out and they flee. Moxley and company flee. They got the board out there. They got the neck brace. They got the stretcher. They're setting Danielson out. And that last shot that we see of Private Party, Orange Cassidy, and Darby Allin just looking like they just witnessed literally a murder, tearing up.
Mm-hmm.
What a way to end the pay-per-view. And it was one of those things, someone in our chat on Firmly AEW early today, he put it perfectly. He said, Darby is a guy that never dies. He never quits and he never dies, and we never see him die. And in that moment at the end of the pay-per-view, he looked like he was mentally beaten watching that. And the way he put it, he said it way more elegantly than I just said it. But I was like, that is a good shout. And it was literally, and you could just hear the silence amongst the crowd, and just
the crowd was just they were compelled by this. A lesser person would look at this and say the crowd was dead, but a astute individual such as ourselves look at the crowd and know that they're into it, because they're all on their feet. The crowd is not saying a word, but they're up on their feet, and they're wondering what the hell's going on. They're not quite sure. Mm-hmm. Is Danielson really hurt or not? Like, it's fantastic stuff. This angle ruled. That's why there's and okay, let's break this down first and foremost. The final shot was tremendous of Darby and Orange Cassidy, and you see the two, and you're like, well, here they go. These are the Avengers, but not in the Marvel sense, but the guys who are going to come in to avenge what just happened here.
Yeah,
that's why they did the Jerry Lynn spot earlier. And I'm like, that's why they did it, because Orange is going to be a guy to challenge Mox. Like, Mox has right now 2 guys lined up as, monsters of the week that he'll be able to go after, that they'll challenge him and he'll beat, and that'll be fine, while waiting for Danielson to eventually come back. Because let's be honest, right? Let's not be stupid here. But nonetheless, like, I thought that was so marvelously set up. And you're like, hell yeah, Orange, hell yeah, Darby, get him. So that in and about itself, I thought just capped it off perfectly. But see, that's what you need more of. And someone in my own chat said it quite well, that it's time to get rid of the Attitude Era, wink wink, heel, where I know you guys I know you guys know this is none of this is real, and to feel like you're a part of the act. Let's bring back the guys. Let's bring back the heels who are, and say the guys, but as much for the women as well, that are just driven by hate and anger, who just want to do things because they just don't like people, because they want to be at the top, because they want to get a big fat paycheck, because they're winning the titles, they're winning matches. You know what I mean? Let's bring back that. And I think that's what caused a lot of discomfort by people, just like the choking out thing at All In itself. Yeah. All Out, excuse me. It creates discomfort because it feels a little too real. It feels, it's not performative anymore. What do you mean a plastic bag? But you know what? It's okay to feel uncomfortable. It's okay to hate the heels. It's okay to not like what's going on. In fact, it should draw you in more, as opposed to, oh, well, we'll boo Dominic Mysterio because he's so dislikable with his mullet, tee-hee-hee, kind of thing. That's, Dominic Mysterio is not going to choke out someone with a bag, but but Dominic doesn't get real heat.
He had to survive prison. He had to do what it took.
Oh,
all right. I'm just
damn it, Warren.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not. You ever been to prison? I bet it sucks.
It changes a man. Changes a man.
And I think it's okay. I think it's okay to be uncomfortable like that. And there should be more of that. And the angle, look at how well Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland, their feud has worked out. It's not because, you know, they were trading inside jokes. No, it's because you really do believe that these guys hate each other. And even Swerve, when he's cutting interviews that has nothing to do with the show, he's still like, yeah, Adam Page he's kind of sucks and I hate the guy. You know, it's like fantastic. Let's go.
And like, I'm a big proponent of like, not every show has to end with, you know, a cartwheel, a pat on the butt, and like, all right, everyone, you know, sometimes in life, bad things happen and you got to get through them. You got to figure it out. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you watch weekly TV shows that are dramas, you know, at the end of every Breaking Bad episode, Walter White wasn't skipping off with Jesse laughing, and that's not how it worked.
Throwing the cash around.
Yeah, like, woo, look at us, we're great. No, that's not how that show ended.
Spoiler alert.
Horrific shit. Sometimes there was horrific shit that happened at the end of those episodes. It's just how it is. It's how it is.
How dare you?
The Walking Dead, you know, people just didn't start making up with the zombies at the end of each episode, you know?
Yeah. So then it bleeds over to Dynamite, and this will tie a bow on this thing here. So the show starts with an excellent kind of vignette-ish interview. It shows them hopping right in a car right after doing what they did, and they're driving through the parking lot, and I thought it was a wonderful touch because you could hear fans seeing John Moxley and crew driving by and start yelling like, hey, oh, they're right. Like, you could hear the fans react like, Mox, you know. I thought that was kind of fun. But he basically says that people don't understand. What was the thing he said? He says he hates what AEW has become no matter what. The people that work for AEW work for him now. That was a couple of the lines he said. It was a longer promo than that. But that line stuck out to me where he goes, the people working for AEW work for him now. And then we fast forward to later on in the night. There is a trios match happening with the Elite and the Conglomeration. And the matches ended abruptly when Moxley and crew come out. They attack the baby faces. The Elite, who two of the members of the Elite are executive vice presidents of AEW, are basically on the ramp at ringside watching all of this occur. These guys are beating everybody down. We see Private Party make their entrance. They make their way down. Daniel Garcia, they get their asses kicked. The Dark Order comes out at one point, and when the Dark Order comes out, Alex Reynolds, literally as he's running down, he like hits Matt Jackson and is like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, let's go. You own this company. Let's go. What is happening? They still don't do anything. We then see Jack Perry come out and kind of go, all right, guys, let's go in the back. This is none of our business. Like, let's get out of here. Which I think there's a scenario down the line where maybe Jack Perry ends up on the other side. But that's
Mox likes them because Mox likes them.
Yeah. But you know, so that's all happening. And then Mox grabs a mic and he says a few things, but one thing he says, he goes, if you are involved with all Elite Wrestling, you are under attack. And that was the line that he said. He said a few more things, but that was really the line. And it was just like, all right, man. And it was like, I thought it was very intriguing how the Bucks didn't do anything. They're immediately confronted by Daniel Garcia and Private Party afterwards in the back. They almost start fighting. But again, Jack Perry is like, let's get the hell out of here. Whatever. Really well done. Really, really well done. I was getting, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I was like, it's getting that vibe of like, I don't want to even compare it, but like, you know, it has the early 1996 NWO. We're attacking WCW, taking over this shit vibes. That's the vibe that I'm getting here.
I think it's a great comp. Actually, I used it myself. I think it's you know, what we're talking early NWO. It makes perfect sense because that's exactly how it feels like. Yeah, I like the segment. you know, I think that the main issue that I have with this, and this is a problem in AEW in general, is that, you know, I feel the follow-up wasn't there. But that's usually a problem with AEW booking, is that they'll do a great, fantastic angle, and they'll have difficulty following it up with something, with a good follow-up. You know, Dynamite, you know, the commentators talked about Bryan Danielson being gone, and that was it. You know, for an event, for a moment on Wrestle Dream where you had the locker room spill into the ring, you know, and try to break things up, and even on Dynamite again, no one in the locker room was talking about Bryan Danielson, right? You didn't have Orange Cassidy cut a little promo. You didn't have Darby Allin cut a little promo. I know he wasn't there, but you know, whatever. You know, you had no one in the babyface locker room saying, "Man, I can't believe Danielson's not here." You know, it's such a shit heel thing to do, Mox. You know, it's like, we can't believe you did this. You know, there's none of that. So I get the segment on Dynamite, and they had to do something like that. But even within the confines of the show, they could have built that a little bit better. They could have given us this feeling like, yeah, you know, Danielson's gone, Mox and group are not welcome here anymore, kind of thing. And it just escalates. It continues. I feel it kind of happened. And then who comes out to defend? And who? The Dark Order. And again, Private Party. Like,
right?
You know, very underwhelming. You know, I guess Mox is winning this war. You know what I mean?
Reynolds taking strays.
Yeah, literally. They hung him over the ring post with a
This is just the front line, Warren. You don't send out the, you know, you got to
poor
the
man.
pawns, man.
Poor Dark Order.
Dark Order just.
Dark Order.
And then John Silver chasing after the car. Like,
yeah, I mean,
it was kind of corny for sure.
So that's my main issue with how they handled it, is that, you know, and it's quite honestly, it's kind of like Mariah May. You have this tremendous angle where it's like, whoa, like, and everyone's captivated. And then the follow-up, you're like, yeah, let's go. You're back on Wednesday. You're like, what are they going to do next? And it's kind of like,
done.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's the Dark Order who are going to stick up for us. Okay, that's a little weird, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the Dark Order today on Firmly, and I was like, listen, because later on in the night they showed a backstage segment where they were getting beat down, the same crew a little bit from before Mox and crew left, and Evil Uno actually, I thought, cut a real good promo back there, and I'm just like, you know, it's a shame. Promo. Yeah, it's a shame because they are day one guys. There's obviously so much history there with Brody and Hangman and all this stuff. Like, I would really love to see them more involved on the show still, because I do think they bring a lot. Like, John Silver's great. Evil Uno's really good. Like, they bring a lot to the table. I just wish they were utilized more, because I do feel like they still could bring a lot to AEW if they were positioned correctly.
And there you go. That's the idea, is the question of positioning, right? So,
yeah,
like, the first people out the gate that Mox and company are going to have to deal with are the Dark Order and Action Andretti. I'm like, okay, what the fuck? You know, it's like, like this is like, this is not super compelling. You know what I mean? It's like, even Mox should be like, why don't we get some real competition here? Is this the best you got, kind of thing? Like, it's you know, it's kind of not, and again, it's nothing. It's all because of their positioning. It's how they've been positioned on the card. We have grown to perceive Dark Order as jabronis. So great promo by Evil Uno, but you know, you're eating dirt. You know, like you're gonna get your asses kicked. Like, there's no. That's the problem, is that the follow up right now feels like it needs a little more. It didn't feel as exciting as the promise of the end of that angle.
Kristen, how are you feeling about it?
My ADHD started 20 minutes ago when Warren started his conversation. I mean, the only thing, first off, poor Alex. Who did he pull the belt off to get? Who he pulled the belt off of somebody.
Yeah, I think he pulled the belt off of. I think it was Alex, wasn't it?
It was his
It
belt.
was somebody on the ground.
Yeah, it might have been Orange Cassidy. It might have been Orange Cassidy's belt, maybe.
Somebody else's belt. I will say.
I thought it's his belt and he's throwing it in the ring to start some shit. Marino's like, I got you.
So I will say this. I have a hard time letting things go. I have a grudge against Danielson. And when he was interviewed and somebody had asked him, well, what do you think about a woman being introduced into BCC? And he said, never. There should not be a woman in BCC. And then the guy goes. And what happens? Marina's there. It feels a little bit like, to me, get out of here. There's Marina. And the fact that she gets to be real muscle is really good. I thought, I wonder how, and Warren had brought up a good point to me about how her and Mox are probably very close because they do the blood sport stuff. And so I thought, well, he probably did bring that up and pitch it. But that to me is what I've been honed in on. Yes, all the other angle stuff, whatever. Poor Alex Reynolds. But I was like, wow, poor Alex. But I really like how Marina has come in and hasn't been like the typical woman manager, like, but like has been the muscle.
Yeah, she's in a China role. She's in a China role.
Yeah, when she gets involved, it's not good. It's not good when she gets involved. She's like, and you can see how Mox watches her when she's attacking people. You can like see the admiration in his face. Like he's like, yeah, that's right. Like he like enjoys like just watching her dismantle.
He never goes anywhere without her.
No, exactly.
He'll Claudio and Pac and they'll do their own thing, but he never walks around if she's not around.
Correct. Like she is always by his side. It's a really good spot for her, and she's doing really, really good stuff.
Eat it, Danielson. Eat it.
Fair.
That's what I love.
Okay. Anyway.
Hell yeah. No. Dead now. Yeah. Obviously, there was more that happened on Dynamite. If you want to catch a more in-depth review of Dynamite, you can watch Firmly AEW that I do with Drew. Warren does reviews on his channel as well, so you can go watch his reviews. I listen to them usually after I do this show on Thursday nights. Those are my Thursday night listens. And you have your AEW Wrestle Dream review as well. So you can go check that out with Warren. Kristen, let the people know where they can find you on social media, where they can find the list if they want to look at the whole list and all that stuff. But let the people know what you got going on besides making big, giant 250 wrestler lists.
Well, it's sort of like Mariah Carey, where I drop the list and then I retreat back into the cave for a year. So I don't have a ton going on right now other than that. I do a column almost every issue. You can get the women's 250 and then all the other issues at PWI. They call it slash. What do they call that? Dash.
Like the dash, like the
the dash.
The dash. Yeah.
Dashonline.com.
Yeah.
You can get the digital today. You can pre-order the print. I believe it's on issue stands like middle of November, so that's there. At Kristen Ashley, you can see it right there. That's how you spell my name. At Kristen Ashley. Right now, I'm just being super annoying on Twitter and just actually I'm tweeting a lot about movies right now. I rewatched Lord of the Rings, and Frodo is a little bitch, and you can find all that information. I can't stand Frodo.
Frodo is a little bitch.
There you go. He is.
Love it.
Have you thought of not tweeting anymore? Have you ever thought of that?
Oh, I hate that. No, people need to know my take on Frodo.
Right. That's right. Okay,
sure.
I agree.
Okay.
You should make them pay for your thoughts on Frodo, though.
I was going to pay for that.
I don't even know who the fuck Frodo is.
That's not true.
What? I don't know who he is specifically.
I don't care if you've never seen those movies, which I'm assuming
I watched The Big Bang Theory before Dynamite yesterday, and Leonard went as Frodo, so that's about my reference point.
You don't know. You know who Frodo is.
Yeah, you know who
Frodo
is.
He's Rudy.
No, it's not Rudy. That's Sam Wise.
That's Sam. Elijah Wood.
Then I have no idea.
You know who Elijah Wood is.
You know Elijah Wood. You know.
Just because I know who that is doesn't mean I know who he plays.
But he's Frodo. He plays Frodo. Elijah Wood.
Doesn't mean I know him.
Rudy.
All you need to know is that Sam carried the entire operation.
Yes, Sam is the heart and soul.
Frodo was like, ooh.
Sam is the heart and soul. I will say, Sam is the heart and soul.
See?
He's not the main character, but he's the heart and soul. He's the heart.
He should be the main character.
You know, first of all, I know him as not as Rudy. I know him from the kid as in Goonies. That's who he is to me. He's Goonies. One could even argue he's Stranger Things for me. The beginning couple seasons of Stranger Things as well. Bob.
Stranger 2, season 2, right?
Poor
season 2. Yeah, Bob. But anyway, Mr. Warren Hayes, why don't you let the people know? Because you've changed your schedule up here a little bit. I've very much been enjoying it, but let the people know what you got going on your side of things these days.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I have switched things up. YouTube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes, just right here alongside the good old boys here at Love Wrestling. And I still do my podcast, but I do a lot more streaming as opposed to, one night a week. I do multiple times. That's a lot then. So yeah, usually, I've started streaming more, and I still put the podcast together with a combination, which is now a combination of things that I record offline and stream highlights. So it's pretty fun, and I'm enjoying the live stream. So a lot, because quite frankly, the way I used to do it, I just sit down and record and sort of semi-ignore chat as I'm recording stuff, because I'm like, I don't want to be talking to chat and for the podcast. And then, people listen to the podcast and like, well, why am I listening to an offline stream kind of thing? You know what I mean? Like you don't want too much of that, but I did miss the interaction. I didn't want more interaction, and that's what's been happening. And it's a lot looser. It's a lot more fun at the same time. We all like fun. So Mr. Warren Hayes on YouTube, or you can find the Mr. Warren Hayes Show podcast as well if you just want to limit yourself to that. You can follow it on YouTube, of course, or on your favorite podcast application. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, it's always a good listen. Always a good listen. Pluggo, my dude. Do the damn thing. Let the people know what you got coming up for this rest of the week. You usually got something doing on the weekends with our buddy Blair over there. So let the people know what you got coming up and where they can find this show.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can find me at PLUGGO on all social media platforms. You search PLUGGO, my face pops up. That's me. Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Big Bad Boris and Blair Pacheco. We'll be doing the LPW 31 preview show for Full Exposure right here on this channel. So stop by, say hi, hang out. And then if you want to know what we got going on as a show, go to @B2Beards on all social media platforms. You can find everything that we got going on, upcoming guests, NFL tiers, all that fun stuff is right there. That's it. That's all I got.
Hell yeah. You can find me, JPJ Loves Gaming, on all social media platforms, on Twitch as well. Thursday nights, 8 p.m., the flagship right here with my dude, Pluggo. As you can see, between two beards. Tuesday mornings, Thursday mornings with my man, Drew Nicholas, firmly Love Wrestling. We talk WWE on Tuesdays. We talk AEW on Thursdays. And that is where you can find me. Once again, thank you, Kristen, for the debut of you. Hopefully we can get you on soon, as often as you want. We always say it, and Warren knows, it's an open door policy. Whenever you guys are itching or whenever you guys want to come on, we usually can make it happen. So thank you both for joining us. Appreciate everybody in the chat tonight. The chat was lively. Good questions earlier. Appreciate everyone.
Before Sue, why don't monsters eat ghosts?
Oh, is this a dad joke? What are we doing? Is this a Halloween dad joke?
Yeah. Because they taste like sheet. Peace. Time for Sue.
Bye.
Warren is so upset.
Hey there, PLUGGO and JPJ. It's Trent's mom, Sue, and I have a bone to pick with you. So, I understand that you guys are being real idiots and spending your entire monthly budget. You've got to be kidding me. This is not the way to be when you're trying to run a business. Your boss, Spencer, is really pissed off at you. I'm pissed off at you. You have some nerve. Get a grip. You have to control yourself. You can't just go out and spend all the money that you're making, you two beards guys. Oh no, this is coming out so stupid. Anyway, behave yourselves, or I'm going to cut you off from watching AEW. You're no longer going to get to know, be able to meet my son. What? Or me. I'm sorry, this is like, I don't know. Anyway, thanks so much for being fans.